Okay. Good evening to all our viewers, both in and outside Ekiti, because this is a virtual event. So I envisage that we're going to have participants from all across the world, as the case may be. And before we go forward, on a lighter note, I must say that the brain behind this particular initiative, the Go Global Solution Team, it must be men and women of faith. And the reason why I'm saying that is not far fetched. For you to be having a digital summit at this time of the night in Nigeria, without even taking into consideration that anytime from now you can just see off NEPA like we used to shout. So for you to go ahead with this kind of initiative at this particular point in time, it shows that you are men and women of faith. And that is what we need to move our nation forward. So kudos to the Go Global team. And yeah, kudos. So let me start by way of introduction. My name is Ayomide Halao, and I will just be doing the honor of guiding through these panelists, these wonderful panelists. I'll be guiding them through this very important discussion. I think it will be okay if I say that the best is saved for the last. This seems to be the last panel session at this particular Digital Summit 2021. And I think I have an idea why this was saved for the last. We all know that agriculture is perhaps the backbone of any economy. So irrespective of what you do or who you are, you have to pay attention to agriculture. So either you work in tech space, you work in politics, you work in business, you all have to pay attention to agriculture. So I think that's the reason why the brain behind this initiative had to bring this session to be the last session because it's that important. So before we go ahead into the major reason we are here, I will start by introducing the panelists briefly. Then I'll give them the mic to do proper introduction also. Once again, my name is Ayomide Alao, and I'll be guiding us through this particular session. So let me start by introducing the wonderful woman amidst us, Olabisi Fagoyibo. She's an author and a great business consultant. Olabisi, good to have you. Do you have a word to say to our listeners before we go ahead?
Hello, everyone, once again, and hello, listeners. Thank you for coming here today, and thank you for your patience. I'm Olabisi Sarah Fagoyimbo, a proud indigenous of Ekiti State, and I'm into agribusiness. I'm an agribusiness consultant and manager, and I'm also an aquaculture technical professional. Presently, I'm doing my MSc in agriculture and development here at the University of Reading in United Kingdom, and basically, you've said it all, and it's what we'll keep saying that whether we like it or not, agriculture is a part of everyone because you need a farmer 3 times every day. And now agriculture is just beyond farming. There is more to agriculture than just farming. So once again, I'll say thank you for bringing me on here and hello to my colleagues in the house.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm Olabisi, as the case may be. Next, I would like to introduce Ekundayo Mayowa, who is the CEO of Manu Multi Global Concept Limited. Mayowa Ekundayo, I'm sure you have a word to say to our listeners before we move ahead.
Thank you for having me. My name is Ekundayo Mayowa, Farmer Lawrence. Apart from being the CEO of my own multi-global concept, I'm also the founder of the Raise the Farmer initiative, where we train youths, female, male, on the business of vegetable farming. And basically, we're training youths on the business of vegetable farming. So thank you very much for having me here. And it's amazing to be here on the same panel as Sarah, Samson, and Adura Agbemi. Thank you for having me here.
Interesting. Then, of course, Farmer Samson Ogbole, the team lead of Opepsia Limited. I hope I pronounced that very well. Good to have you, Mr. Samson. I'm sure you have a word to say to our listeners before we go ahead.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. For us, we believe that food production should not be seasonal because hunger is not seasonal. So for that, we understand the role of technology when it comes to ensuring the non-seasonality in food production. And that's our role.
Perfect. Got you there. I don't know if you have Adura Agbemi, who ought to be the last panelist in this particular session. Is Adra Agbemi there?
I think
Okay.
the internet keeps
Network.
yanking him up.
Okay, so in the absence of Adra Agbemi, I think we can move ahead. So to start with, I think it's very important we, clarify some things before we go forward. The first thing is this is going to be a very spontaneous engagement. Of course, we know it's not scripted; it's live. So we want everybody to be relaxed, and it is going to be a very interesting conversation actually, because we're going to be focusing on the practical aspects of this particular topic. And I'm someone that believes so much in the fact that when you are trying to have a discussion or a panel discussion like this, we should focus on what is feasible and what can be done, not just to come and criticize and just throw words around. So it might not be the usual kind of panel discussion that we used to have. So it might be something unconventional, because I really want us to focus on the main reason why we are here and to touch on important issues. So to start with, so that you would pick my mind and know the kind of thoughts I have while driving this particular conversation. Of course, I'm not in the agri space, so to say, but like I said earlier, every one of us, we are all involved in agri in one way or the other. It's either you are a consumer, you are a producer. So many of us are consumers, and so we are definitely involved in agri. But you see, there's a particular thing I think a lot when I think about agri. There's this particular thought by so many young persons in Nigeria. They say things like, agri is not attractive for young people to come into. But when I look at the statistics, that seems to be uh, like that is not the reality. I don't know if you agree with me. There's a particular survey that was done by the World Bank in collaboration with NBS, I think in 2017, if memory serves me right. Where they did this home survey, they discovered that over 70% of our 200 million population actually um, are farmers or are involved in the agri value chain. So though majority are subsistence farmer, but majority are actually farmers. So agri seems to be the largest employer of labor in Nigeria. So the question is now, it's no longer about bringing people into agri. It's about making those who are already into agri, more profitable and ensuring that we expand the scope of what they are doing. So that brings me to my first question, which I'll be throwing to Samson, because I read something very interesting that you said in one of your interviews. You said few people who have bright ideas that can think outside the box for us to latch on. Money does not solve problem. Ideas solve problems. I think you were talking about your idea about growing soilless farming, so to say. So I want to put it across to you, Mr. Sampson. So the challenge is not about bringing people into agri, but those who are into agri, how do we make sure that the business is profitable for them? Now, I'm not posting it to you as a government official. I'm posting it to you as an operator in the agri space. What do you think? So, what do
All
you
right.
think can be done by laid back Nigerians that want something to be done in agriculture? What do you think they can do to make sure that they move from just doing subsistence farming to something more productive?
Okay, thank you very much. So the first thing first is number one, agriculture must move beyond just the plowing of feed and rearing of animals to what we were taught in secondary school, which was agricultural science. So there is the science of agriculture. For this to make sense, what most farmers use today is still the hoes and the cutlass. Now, to make this make sense, hoes and cutlass existed in the era where we still used to use feather inside ink to write, where the major mode of transportation was a horse connected to a cart, where aeroplane was still a vision, not a reality, where banking sectors were done with ledgers, with old men, so you cannot move from Lagos and go to Ibadan, even with sure Lagos to Ibadan is too far. You cannot move from Ojota to Oshodi and withdraw your money in Oshodi. That was the era where hoes and cutlass existed. But you realize that in every other sector, the science and the technology has changed and it has improved operations, it has improved activities. But when you come into agriculture, you realize that despite the fact that the years has changed, the science that is still in operation is the science that existed 180 years ago. And if you are using the technology of yesterday in trying to feed a population of today, there is no way we are not going to wallow in hunger slash poverty. They go hand in hand. So, first is how much science are we inculcating into our farmers? One. Then, how much recent relevant science? Now, I use the word recent and relevant because if today I want to buy a phone for my daughter or you want to buy a phone for your child, would you say because you want the child to understand the history of telephone, my first phone I will buy for this child is a landline? The answer is no. You will not even buy the child a bird phone or a Sagem. Instead, you are going to buy the child the phone that is recent, that is relevant right now. So there is a need, number one, to bring in science back into agriculture. That is number one. Now, once we have understood the role of relevant science in agriculture, we move to the next level, which is agribusiness, the business of agriculture. Now, I always tell people this. If you look at our forefathers, the problem was not that some of them were not good farmers. The issue was majority, if not all of them, were bad businessmen. So agriculture for them was just stealing, harvest, rear animals, sell. But you cannot do that when it comes to agriculture, agribusiness. There is a need to start teaching farmers what agribusiness is. What is the business of agriculture? I mean, today you will meet somebody that says, I want to go into farming, and you ask them, do you have a market? They're like, no, don't worry, people eat, people will buy. But the question is, would I open a filling station with the same mindset? No. Will I open a salon with the same mindset? No. But why then do you do that when it comes to agriculture? So yes, like you rightly said, there are so many people in agriculture today. True. However, they are not in agribusiness. One. Two, they are not using the relevant science of the day in their practice of agriculture. So if we need to change the tide, then our tools need to change. If we need to change the fortune, our tools need to change. Like I always tell people,
Interesting.
our biggest blessing is that majority of us are farmers. Unfortunately, if you check the highest level of poverty in the land, it is still amongst the farmers. So it means if as a nation we want to take people out of poverty, all we need to do is give these farmers the right tools, not hoes and cutlass. Give them the right tools. The right tools are not as expensive as it sounds. It sounds as simple as helping the farmers do common soil testing to even know what kind of fertilizer are you applying. Because if you did not do soil test and you are applying fertilizer, that is the form of giving people drugs without running any test on them. You just say, oh, you came to the society and you're like, I heard your Oba had headache,
Mm.
so everybody should have headache. I heard your Oba had malaria, everybody should have malaria, and you just start distributing malaria drugs. That is the equivalent. So it is as simple as running simple soil tests. It's as simple as running simple pathogen tests. It's as simple as providing seeds that are resistant to the predominant disease in that area. Just that little science will change the fortune of the farmers. Is teaching farmers how to understand the weather rather than depend on prayer. It is called agricultural science, not agricultural religion. So understanding the science would reduce a lot of the prayers and faith that we are wasting. So I hope that answers the question.
Brilliant, brilliant. I think I got a quotable quote from what you said, which I think is very important that we note that we have many persons doing agric, but we have very few doing agribusiness. So people need to switch from just doing agric to doing agribusiness. I think that's talk much about volume versus value. So people are into agric a lot in terms of volume, But the challenge, the question is, what value are they offering with the agri they are actually into? Thank you very much for that input, Samson. So I have a question for you, just from that line of thought that Samson was saying, Olabisi. He was talking about introducing technology into agri, and I think that is one of the things he's doing with soilless farming. But my concern is someone like Samson. I wouldn't know where you got ideas from, how you got the support that brought you into what you are doing presently. But Olabisi, if you are going to talk to, assuming a young farmer is listening to this and is challenged by what Samson is saying, that okay, I need ideas, I need to bring innovation into what I'm doing. How can I start? What do I need to do? Knowing that I'm limited by funds, I don't have what it takes financially, to promulgate this idea. So what can I do, Olabisi?
I thank you for your question. There are so many answers or so many approaches to the question you've asked, but this will lead me to first saying there is a reason why Samson, every one of us keep taking time out of our, in quotes, busy schedule, coming to social media and talking all the time and doing live sessions and all, is to demystify agribusiness. And in my social media, my live sessions, which I themed them agribusiness, a tool for economic recovery, on so many occasions, even people like Farmer Samson and many other people have come there to talk. And it's the reason why I don't only bring farmers. I try to bring people from the policy aspect, from politics aspect, from government aspect. Now, the bottom line of my story is this. There is more to agribusiness than what one man can do, or one person, or one individual can do. Not everybody has the courage that Farmer Samson and so many other people in the industry have had to summon to be able to do all this. That's one. In other places where agribusiness or agri-tech is more pronounced, in other countries, other continents where it's more pronounced than ours, there's what they have government support, or it might not be direct, it might be through financial institutions. That's it. So basically, I'm not going to come here and make it look simple and just tell every youth, don't worry, you can do agri-tech, you can do agribusiness. But what I would say is, considering the situation we find ourselves at home here in Nigeria, there are other ways that a young person who doesn't have so much fun or exposure can start. And you don't have to have studied agriculture. It's a plus, but you don't have to have. One thing first is we need to learn to serve, to learn by serving. I know in my days, which I think still happens in undergrad, we were asked to go for the program called Sideways. That's what's popularly called IT. It's for a purpose, even though sometimes the purpose may have been defeated, but it's because if sometimes even when you have access to fund, if you don't have the experience kind of knowledge, I'm not talking of knowledge from the books, the hands-on experience knowledge, you might not be able to execute agri-tech or agribusiness on the technical level. If you go to your Pepsia place, that's Farmer Samson's Soilless Farm, you would see many young people like ourselves there learning hands-on. We have people who are doing amazing well, whom Farmer Samson has trained, Chichi and everyone like that. Majura Gwemi has people working for him on his farm as interns. Farmer Lawrence has people. Farmer Lawrence even he has started his Rafi initiative where he was training people. So the first thing is to seek hands-on knowledge, which is different from what even
Brilliant.
we have studied in the school. Then another thing I was still saying in my live session, I think last week Wednesday, was this thing of, if you, I'm not saying everybody has to use social media, but whatever media you're using to communicate with people, you need to put what you do out there. And I'll tell you why. If you want to access, we already know that there's not much coming from the government or financial institutions directly to give us this agri-tech, the kind of agri-tech we dream of. If we want to source funding regionally, locally, and internationally, we need to put what we do out there. You need to be traceable. You cannot just be in hiding, only posting
Brilliant.
funny stuffs on your Instagram, which is nice to post, but nobody can trace you. There's a reason why even in this application, people ask you for your social media handles because people want to know where the fund they are giving you is going. People are getting fund and doing this. People are getting investors. Farmer Lawrence, everybody, they are doing stuff and getting investors. You understand? So people have to put what they are doing out there because sometimes even when you are writing, even motivational statement to go for further studies in agriculture or any other course, motivational statement to get funding, your pitching and all of that, there has to be a trace that you've been doing this and you are not just here for the money or for the fact that you had that business now pays and you want to go. I don't want to give too many too
Yeah,
long
I,
a
I,
speech.
I I got that,
Yeah,
Olabisi, and I think that's a brilliant submission.
that's
I think the
basically
take home for me in what you've said, two major things. You said seek experience before seeking money. So for young
yes,
people that want to come into the agri space, make sure you seek experience first before you seek money. The experience will make you have the stature to ensure that even when you make the money, it's sustainable. Then I think one other thing that you said that I'm going to put concisely is that make sure you have online footprints. So let me be able to Google Olabisi Sarah and I see that okay, she's into this particular thing. So that's brilliant, and I think that's applicable across board. Thank you very much for that
you're
input. And
welcome.
that takes me to Mayowa Ikundayo. Mayowa, Olabisi made mention of something. Like I said, this is going to be. I did not prepare for any question. I just wanted to be a spontaneous discussion. So Olabisi said something while she was giving her submission. She talked about policy, and I want to bring you in on that, Mayowa. How important is government policy, or how important are government policies to ensure that we have a well-structured agri industry and it makes it profitable for young people to venture in? How important? Just that one very quickly before I come with the follow-up question. Maya.
Okay, so thank you very much for that question. So, one of the critical roles of the government is to ensure that as private players, we have an enabling environment. And the simple truth is, when the government moves, everything moves. So, if the government is more conscious about the growth of agriculture and then it starts to put policies in place to ensure that players actually have it easy, definitely it will be easy. So it's not like the government is not putting policies in place, or they're not thinking of policies. But then again, on the part of the government, there's been sincerity of purpose and have come to play. But to answer that question directly, it is very, very important that the policies, that the government start to look into more deeply and see how private and public players have smooth experience. It is very, very important. Thank you.
Can you hear me, Maya?
Oh, yes, I can hear you now. I can
Yeah,
hear
and a
you now.
follow-up question to that. Do you think government is doing enough in terms of their intervention in the agri space, especially as regards young people coming into the political? I mean, young people getting involved in the agri business.
Now, in fairness, okay, so that's a very tricky one. So on the media,
I lost you for a few seconds, Maya. Can you still hear me?
for agriculture and support for young people in agriculture. They talk about the AgMaze loan. They talk about the anchor borrower scheme. They talk about of crops being to support the farmers. But the simple truth is, we have come to see that the implementation of these policies are not as they've made the noise. So a young farmer is finding it difficult to access the AgMaze loan. So yes, government policies governments may be talking about a lot of things that they are doing for agriculture, but implementation is something that is not corresponding with the noise that we hear on the media, that with respect to what they say that they do. So, uh,
I
yes,
got that.
government is talking a lot, but we're not seeing the results. Yes.
I get that. So if I get you right, from Lawrence from Iowa, what I'm trying to say, there's a policy and program disconnect. So government has
Yeah.
fine policy on paper, but when it comes to implementation,
Yes.
like it's not to write them about. So that brings
Yes.
me to Adora Agbeni. Maiwa just talked about the policy and program disconnect of government. For example, you have so many interventions, so many projects that the government is embarking on, but the information is poor, very poor, to the point that the recipient don't even get to see these programs being implemented. So I want to ask you, Adora Agbemi, what do you think your community, when I say your community, I mean young farmers, what do you think you can do as a people, to, I don't know if it's going to be more of advocacy or agric activism, if you allow me use that word. What do you think you can do to ensure
Can you
that
hear me? Can you hear
there's
me at all?
yes, we
Yes, we
can hear
can
you,
hear
Yeah,
you.
Adora.
please, I want you to rephrase that question. I just joined in now, so I can't hear anything. Just rephrase it again, please.
Sorry, I lost you for a few seconds. Can you hear
So
me
can you hear
now?
me now? Yes, just rephrase the
Okay.
question again.
Yeah, so I said Maya was talking about policy program disconnect, that
Okay,
governments come up with a lot of brilliant policies that they want to
okay,
implement. But when it comes to implementing those policies, there's a disconnect. So you have fine
okay,
policies on paper, but it's
okay,
poorly implemented. So I was
okay.
now thinking, like, as a body, as an ecosystem of young
Hmm.
farmers, what do you
Yeah.
think you can do as a people to ensure that government deliver on the promises they've made or the policies that they've enacted, so to say? For example, I know that the tech space, they are currently working on a particular bill, which is called a tech support bill. I don't know if you're aware about that. For example,
Yeah.
young people in the civic space, they worked on a particular bill called Not Too Young to Run Bill. So, as young people in the agri space, what do you think you can do as a people to mount pressure on government to do what you really need? Because it's very important.
Okay. Thank you very much. I want to apologize for let's say coming in a bit behind schedule. I was battling with a lot of network issue. As a matter of fact, I had to just drive out to get internet. My name is Adolagwin Victor Fashakin. So just to go straight to your to what the question you asked. So it's very important that we first identify young people who are in this space, and that's just talk about data bank. One thing that is lacking that I've discovered in my years of working in the space is that we don't even have data of those young people who are farming. And after we identify those key data, and if you want government to enact or work on policy, then it's very important that we identify those who are really doing this work and come together to synergize and build like more of like a coalition, build more of like I would just say come together like a small body in which you can begin to talk to government. If you discovered that, take for example, Ekiti State, I discovered that what has worked so much in Ekiti is that the guys who are into gender, they've been able to come together, to mount pressure on government for government to do what is needful. And I think for what I've seen in Ekiti, that has not really been in place for agriculture. People have not been coming together to synergize. We only talk from different angle. We talk from different wide mouths. I feel we need to come together. First of all, we need to identify the key problem and also go with one unique voice to meet government. One thing that is very I feel is very funny about government is that they know what is good, they know what is right, they know what they even ought to do, but they will not do because nobody is coming to ask them for it. So I feel it's our time that we come together as young people and see how we can synergize and collaborate so that we can jointly meet government and tell government what we want. Take for example with the issue of climate that has caused so many haphazard rainfall that we currently experience at the moment in Nigeria. I didn't been we've been talking about these things. I didn't been we have people who can really hold government accountable. I mean young people who really know what we're doing. Because the point is, there are so many people who claim to be working in the agri space, whereas they are doing nothing. There are a lot of internet farmers. So how do they even how do they want to identify what the real problems are? And that's why there's always a misconception, or let's say mismanagement or a mistrust between those who are collecting funding from developmental organization, those who are collecting funding from government to fund smaller farmers. That's why whenever they formulate policies, they don't get to work with the major problem that is affecting the real farmers, because they don't even know the problem that are affecting real farmers. So it's like giving money, throwing money to the wrong hands. So they will never even, in fact, not even talk about even funding. They will never even talk about the real problem. I want to set an example. There's a community I'm working at the moment, and the major problem with that community is the issue of seed. So when they gave, there was a private organization who is also trying to help that community. So when they meet that guy who proposed that project, they gave that guy this money, and this guy just came to the community and just built a borehole. They don't need water because they have access to water. They need seed. So same thing applicable to government. Most of the people who have been able to even access government, they've not been really talking about the major pains of farmers. So I would just submit by saying we need to collaborate. We need to form coalition and also mount pressure on government to do what is right.
Thank you for that brilliant submission, Adura Agbemi. And I think, just like I said, this session is going to be a very different session. And, beyond just talking about what we are saying today, I think there's a particular challenge that we have now, which I totally agree with Adura Agbemi. I think I was having this conversation with, I don't know if it was Adura or Maya one of these days, about the fact that young people in the agri space, especially in Ekiti State, they need to form synergy and ensure that they have one voice to speak to government and know what they want. You talked about working in silos and you talked about internet farmers. That's very interesting. I think across all sector we have internet players. So you have those who call themselves tech guys, tech gurus, and they do nothing, they build nothing, and they call themselves gurus in the tech world. So they are internet tech guys. So also we have internet agri farmers. So, and you made mention of knowing the policy preference of the people. So governments don't understand the policy preference of farmers. They just start projects and policies that does not directly affect the farmers. So I think that's a big challenge that I think Ekiti Digital Summit should take up to ensure that they help the young farmers in Ekiti to form a coalition by which they can pressure government to do what they want. That's very brilliant. Thank you, Adra Agbemi. And back to Samson. During your submission the other time, you touched on the nexus between agriculture and extreme poverty. And I think that is a general knowledge, the world all over, that the amount of inputs you put into agri sector, especially in developing countries, has a lot to do with the numbers of people you can bring out of extreme poverty. A good example that will come to mind is China and Vietnam. Those two countries, they had a policy on ensuring they fight extreme poverty, and they brought millions of people out of poverty. And one of the major components that they used was agriculture sector. So, and of course, like it's been said generally in the world, that Nigeria is now the capital poverty of the world. Yeah. So, Farmer Samson, what do you think we need to do as a people? Because definitely, if at all we are going to fight extreme poverty, we need to invest in agri, especially small older farmers. So what do you think we need to do as a people, to drive home this conversation, not just amidst ourselves, but even to the grassroots, that people get to know that this is what they need to do, this is what they need to know. What do you think we can do, Farmer Samson?
Thank you. So first and foremost, we need to define what we want to use agriculture for. We need to define it. Somewhere in the Holy Book, it talks about that, the fact that where there is no vision, the people perish. Now, I say that because you see, agriculture is a tool, and as a tool, you can use agriculture to open one of three things. And it's important I also state that you cannot pick the three at the same time. You only pick one. But your success in one of these three can be so glaring that it looks as though that you picked the other two. So you can use agriculture either as a way to ensure food security, number one. Number two, you can use it as a source of income. Number three, you can use it for employment to create jobs. So the question is, as a nation, what do we want to use agriculture for? Do we want to use it for food security, job creation, or income generation? We need to decide. Now, to make this make sense, I'm glad you talked about China earlier. I would also pick another country, the US. If you look at the US about 80, 90 years ago, they had so many farmers and they had a high level of poverty. But they decided that they wanted to use agriculture as a source of income. Now, what that simply meant to them was, if agriculture was going to become a source of income, there are crops we should not be growing. There are tools we need to bring in. There are tools we need to stop using. If you study the US from the 1900 till date, you would notice that the number of farmers are continually on the decline. However, the number of breeders, the number of geneticists, plant geneticists, animal geneticists are continually on the increase. And because of that, there is now an increase, what's it called, every decade per square meter for the plants that they produce. So we need to start from number one, as a nation, what do we want to achieve with this whole agriculture? Is it about food security? Is it about job creation? Or is it about income generation? That is number one. Now, once we have decided what we want to achieve, then we need to, like Aduragbemi rightly said, we now need to go to the real farmers. And now this is where the farmers have a role to play. The farmers need to collect data of their successes and their failures. Because you hear many a time people talk about, oh, some of the policies that the government is implementing are not okay. They are going abroad to bring in policies to implement. And the question I usually ask farmers is, do you have data to support the kind of policies you want them to push? Because the data that they are bringing from abroad has results to back it up. They are not just, oh, let's do this way or this that way. They have something to back it up. So on the part of the farmers, we need to start documenting our processes. It's not enough to say, I have a mental note of what to do. I have a mental note of how things should go. No, we need to go beyond that and have actual documentation of, when I did A and B and C, I got D, E, F. So that when you are saying, we need this kind of policies and this kind of policies, now, with your data that you have collected, your procedures that you have written down, that can now align with what is the national vision for agriculture. Which part of this change do we really need to work on? By that, I mean, so, for example, in an area we are realizing they've not been doing soil tests. In an area we are realizing they've not been doing pathogen tests. In another area, irrigation is the issue. In another area, understanding how to apply fertilizer is the issue. In another area, the tools are the issues. But we can now sit down and ask our questions. Amongst all of these issues, from seed, the kind of seeds to plant and all of that, which of these should we focus on first to try to achieve the vision we want to achieve? Is it the seed issue? Is it fertigation issue? Is it smaller implements, smaller tools? So we are not saying go and buy tractors. No, but smaller tools that farmers can easily use and also achieve the same productivity and efficiency even better than the tractors. So we need to start looking at the value chain, but for us to know where the intervention will be in that value chain, it must align with the national vision of what we want to use agriculture to achieve as a goal, whether it is for food security, income generation, or employability. Now, once we have defined these, you would realize that There are some crops that we step down. Now, every geopolitical zone can now pick, okay, these are the kind of things that we need to do. And with this, we can achieve success. Now, this is important because if, for example, you're studying medicine, you're studying accounting or any other thing, from the day you graduate, you know what to do to move to the next level. You know, if I do this, I get promotion. Okay, I write ICANN, I move to this level, I become chartered, I become this. But in agriculture, there is no clearly defined pathway. So everybody comes in lost, trying to become the pathfinder. And most of the time, when you find your own path, most of the guys at the front covers the path so that the person coming behind can pass through the same issue. But if we are able to clearly define what we are trying to achieve, and we are now able to define this is goal one, goal two, goal three, these are the kind of people we need, these are the kind of things that we need to plug in. Okay, we need an architect here, we need a tech person here, we need an agronomist here. Now, as anybody coming into agriculture, I can easily look at this template and ask myself, where do I plug in? Because now I understand if I plug in here, this is what I get as output. I put this here, this is what I get as output. And this way, we remove the uncertainty around agriculture because now it is much more predictable. I can come in and say, what I just want to do is to go and buy drones and be helping people to map their land because there is a policy
Brilliant.
that has created that if you want to join Cassava Farmers Association, your farm must be mapped. There must be soil test. There must be this. So now you are creating opportunities where people can say, I want to be the drone service provider. No, I want to be the fertigation expert. No, I want to be the pathogen expert. No, I want to come into processing. But you see, all of these conversations cannot come in if there is no first clearly defined vision. Permit me again to use the US, for example. You go to the US, you realize that there are crops they will not grow. They will rather push it to other countries. Why? They have realized that the growing of that crop is not profitable. But they can stand at the area of the processing of the crop. So as a nation, we need to start looking inwards
Samson,
and asking ourselves.
can you kindly hold your thoughts for a few seconds? Why you said something very interesting. Of course, if I use the word of the Holy Book, they say where there's no vision, people perish. So you want us to have a national vision regarding agric, then farmers too should know what they want to do that will connect to the national vision. But while you were giving your submission, because we have to ensure that we carry along our viewers, one of them sent in a question, which I want Miss Sarah to trash immediately before we go on with that line of thought. So Sarah, she said you made mention of service before seeking for money, and I think this particular person is interested in serving and gaining experience. But she said something. She said some farmers are not willing to accept individuals for internship these days. They want to be paid before they can be allowed to do internship. So she's asking you that can you give suggestions about platform that offers internship for aspiring agripreneurs? Do you have such platforms that you can suggest to this particular viewer called Faith?
Hello, Faith. Thank you. You can go to at Frontier Harvesters on Instagram and pop in.
Can you come again with that?
At Frontier Harvesters, FRONTIERHARVESTERS, Frontier Harvesters.
Okay.
We have our relationship with most key people in every niche or sector of agriculture. So she can just.
Okay, Faith. I hope you got that. Frontiers Harvesters. So if I go there and
no, okay. Frontier without the S.
Okay, Frontier yes. Harvesters. Okay. Yes. So Faith, I hope that answers your question. Back to what Samson was saying, but at this point, I would like to quickly bring in Adura Bemi in relation to what Samson was saying, because we have limited time now. It was talking about the fact that when we have a vision as a nation regarding the agribusiness, we'll know what to plant, what not to plant. So if I put it to you, Adora Gbemi, I know you are doing your trade from Ekiti to other parts of the world, but if I put it to you in Ekiti State, for example, what do you think are the crops that we need to focus on as a state, that you think government and you young people in agri-space need to focus on? That will be one profitable and definitely where we have that advantage. Abdullah, you're muted. Can you unmute your mic?
Thank you so very much, the moderator. If there's any one crop that I can easily recommend, though I'm going to mention that crops, is
Okay.
cassava. Our land is one of the best land to grow cassava in Nigeria. Our cassava are always very big. There's so many untapped opportunity along that value chain that we are not even exploring. I think the only person that's even doing a bit of Gary is FMS around the north, Ekiti North, around that area. Now, under crop we have is cocoa, and I've been for the past 2 months, I've been privileged to travel to all the cocoa beds in Nigeria. And one thing I've discovered in number of my analysis and every of the work we've done with those farmers is that our land still stood out. And if you remember the former deputy, I think it was Paul Alabi, what he was doing around the corridor time when he was doing Operation Grow Cocoa, and this cocoa was doing very well. But at the moment now, opportunities are going to all the cocoa beds in the country. They are building a lot of things, but it is exempted because we don't have cocoa. We only have just about 2 regions growing this cocoa. Cocoa, we have rice. And let me tell you this, we have one unique thing we have in Ekiti State about rice is that we have both lowland and upland. Lowland is planting inside water and upland is planting on the soil. Around the Jero Oasis, we have over 250 hectares of land just for lowland planting inside water. You will bear with me. You also know about Gbemo rice. What we are doing with Gbemo rice, one of the best brand currently in Nigeria. Gbemo rice is another area, is another location that Gbemo people are even going out of it. Tarabas are the one planting because we neglected those farmers. I was still there with them just last week, and we heard their pains. Nobody seems to come for them. Nobody, in fact, some of their party are even wasting. We have rice, and another thing is that we also have pineapples. In fact, one of the biggest hub of pineapples in Nigeria is Efonlayi. It will shock you the numbers of pineapples in Efonlayi that government has not for once visited. They don't even know if these guys exist. We also have another crop we have Eniron. Eniron is in Ogotu Ekiti. Eniron is a crop that you use to make some artwork. And thank God that one of the princess of the king for Ogotu King is doing some unique work with the artwork there. But nobody seems to go to Ogotu to even ask question about Eniron.
Thank you, Adura. Thank you so much about your submission. Cassava, cocoa, rice, pineapples, and eniro. I think I'm hearing that for the first time, actually. I think for most of our viewers, when you are done with this particular session, Go Global ought to give you a certificate, of participating in this particular session because you are going to learn quite a lot.
Can you hear me?
And
Can you hear me at all?
yeah, I can hear you, but you can
Yeah,
kindly hold your
yeah.
thought, Adura, because I want to pose a question to Farmer Mayowa now. We have limited time, less than 9 minutes, and I'm sure we still have some questions that we need to answer. So I'm still going to do a round with you all. So Mayowa, Adura touched on crops that can be planted in Ekiti State that'll be profitable. But you see, yeah, of course, like some of you will know, I'm someone who is largely interested in policy. Public policy is something I'm really passionate about. And whenever I think about Ekiti State, one thing that comes to mind is Ekiti doing enough when it comes to agri? Because when a state or a nation wants to formulate development plan, one of the things they look into is the advantage position. Like, what do we have? Ahead of others in this region. So Ekiti, for example, in the southwest region, I think I hope I'm not wrong. I think that vantage position that Ekiti has, that vantage area is agric. It is predominantly an agrarian society, and I think if government should invest more in agri, for example, the Gbimo rice, there's clamor for rice all over Nigeria. If government should invest heavily or try to create the atmosphere that will bring in the investor, so to say, that it could stand a chance of making more money than being a feeding bottle state that it is presently, waiting on federal allocation every month. So, Mayowa, do you agree with that my line of thought first before I go with the question? Do you agree that Ekiti needs to pay more attention to agric? Kindly unmute your mic, Mayowa.
Oh, okay. So I didn't hear the question you asked. The network has been really terrible from this end. Can you
Oh,
kindly
okay. I was talking about the fact
ask?
that when states are coming up with development plans, one of the things they do is to look at the advantage position over other players in the region. So for Ekiti, I hope I'm right
Yes.
that the major area where Ekiti has advantage position is in agric. And I strongly believe the state is not doing enough to either invest or create the atmosphere that will bring in investors. So to start with, do you agree with me on that Ekiti needs to do more in agric?
Yes, Ekiti needs to do more in agri, but I may not agree with you 100% that the government isn't doing enough for Ekiti State. What I see the Ekiti State government do is um, create a platform for long-term investment, ignoring smallholder farmers. So Ekiti State is creating an environment for big players to come, um, you know, and improve the agri sector in Ekiti State, which is geared towards long-term advantage. So where they are not doing enough is engaging smallholder farmers and creating opportunities for these smallholder farmers to enjoy low-hanging fruits. Short-term advantages. So that's where the government is missing it, and the fact that I think that the Ekiti State government does not have plenty of its own policies to support agriculture in the state is a problem. The fact that they get to sync with federal government every other time, is where I think is a problem. But the government is
Okay,
trying. The
I got
government
that.
is trying, but not doing. Yes, thank you.
I got a Mayowa. Before we round up, Sarah, I have one very important question for you. Of course, we're in a society whereby we talk about gender equality a lot, and I'm sure we have feminists too in the Greek space. I hope you are one. I pose this question to you, Sarah. Do you think we have, um, you know, more women coming to the Greek space more than ever before?
Thank you for your question. First, I would not want to identify as a feminist, so I'm
Okay,
not.
got that.
Secondly, to your question, in the past few years, we have had more women in the agriculture space, but we do not have enough women yet. And when I mean I will say in the agribusiness space, we have
Okay, and
many
what do you
women.
think can be done to ensure that to encourage more women coming into that space? What do you think is, if there's one major thing you need to do,
It has to do
what's
with
that one?
policy.
Okay, okay, like
Yes,
giving
and it's a
incentives for women
whole
to come into
it's
the
a whole
space
topic on its
on
own.
its own. Yeah, I got
Yeah,
that. I
but
know.
it has to do with
Then,
policy.
thank you so much, Sarah. Then, Farmer Samson, like I said, I read about your interview regarding soilless farming, and I want to, because that seems to be a very brilliant, and I don't know, I'm not in the agric space, but I think it's something new in this our society. Um, what are the major challenges that you're facing currently in ensuring that you make that? Because I read the article and you said something very interesting. You said you want to make soilless farming to ensure that people in urban areas can actually go into farming. That is very brilliant. So bringing the middle class people into agric, that's going to revolutionize agric in Nigeria. So what is the major challenge you're facing in trying to make sure you bring your vision into reality?
I think the major issue we're facing right now is making people to understand that you can do it wherever you are is about understanding the principle and look around you with to get the materials you can use to set up your own farm. Unfortunately, the more I do soilless farming, the more I realize that people are not really aware of the things in their surrounding. We are so focused
Interesting.
on what we do daily that we do not really see the things around that we can take advantage of. So we have opportunities that are wasted because we do not see or identify them. So yes, that is the biggest issue at the moment.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you so much, Samson. And I wish you all the best in your future endeavor regarding soilless farming. Probably one day you
Thank
become
you.
the Minister of Agric in Nigeria and you're able to implement all these great ideas that you have. Thank you, Sarah, for those brilliant submission. Thank you, Adura Agbemi. Thank you, Mayowa. And Adura, I know you're also into snail farming. Unfortunately, we couldn't touch on that, but I hope that you will give me some snail to eat after this session because I think I did well, right, Adura? So I think the resolution, because like I said, I don't want us to just do program and leave. The resolution from this meeting is simple. And I think I put that to Mayowa and Adura. I know you're based in Ekiti, so you have, yeah, the war chest to make this happen. See to having a coalition of young farmers in Ekiti for the purpose of advocacy and policy formulation. So farmers shouldn't just be consumers of policy. We can be co-producers of policy with the government. So I think it's very important that you work on this, and this will be the major take-home from Ekiti Digital Summit. That after the summit, young farmers in Ekiti came together to form a coalition. Young farmers, so define who young farmers are, and try to make this happen. Well, obviously, good to see you again, and thank you for
Thank
everyone
you,
for joining.
Ayomide. And bye,
Yeah, so
everyone. Thank you,
Thank you.
Shola, for putting this
Thank you,
together as well.
everyone. We really appreciate you. That was an amazing session. Please, before you go, at your media allow, you might want to share the link later on with me. Somebody is asking. I think you mentioned an article, so you share
okay.
with me. Then, yeah, we'll share it in the Telegram community with our audience. Thank you so much. Our next speaker is already on ground. See you on the other
I
side.
just sent the link to your WhatsApp.
Wow, yeah. So I'm gonna share that with the participants. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
All right, see you later. Thank you so much. See you on the other side. Guys, so we have the next session is gonna be live right now, and that is the last but not the least session in this Ekiti Digital Summit. And with me here is you guys already know him. This is a lot of people have actually been waiting for this session too. That is aside the agri session, So this is the session we've been waiting for. Like your media allow mentioned the other time, we always save the best for the last. All right, and we have here with me Dr. Olumuyiwa Igbalajobi. I hope I'm correct with that name right now.
Yeah, you're correct. Hi, bro. Good.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay. It's good evening. Good morning. Good afternoon from Canada. Yeah, sure. It's 12 noon Vancouver time, so I had to round up from church and so that I can join you guys.
Wow,
so how are you?
Thank
you so much for what you're doing. Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Okay, guys. So here is it. We are live right now at the opportunities, how to secure study opportunities. I mean, secrets to securing study opportunities abroad. And Dr. Olumuyiwa, right? Olumuyiwa, sorry,
it's
has
fine.
been someone who has traveled far and near on scholarships, right? And I told you guys that just yesterday I was speaking with him on phone, and he told me that, do you know that with your bachelor's degree, your first degree, you can actually get a PhD scholarship in the US? You don't even need a bank statement, right? So he's gonna share that with us because even me, I'm interested in that. All right. So he's gonna be live with us right now, and I believe he's trying to share his screen.
Okay,
so
let
that
me try.
you can all see him. All right. But then please, all the questions that have been asked concerning the agribusiness, we are going to forward them to our amiable, panelists, and then we'll share all the other necessary stuff with you later on, okay? So please do well to share this with your friends, to tell them that we are live with Dr. Olumuyiwa, right? Igbalajobi, okay? So do well to share that now.
Okay, so I'm just gonna try and share my screen.
All right, so
can you see my screen? I think I'm having issues with Chrome actually. Chrome it's saying Chrome has lost the permission to share my screen.
You're using a MacBook.
Oh yeah. So isn't it
That's it.
possible?
You have to grant Chrome permission to be able to share your screen from
okay.
system preference.
Okay, let me just go there. Yeah, this is my first time of sharing my screen on StreamYard. So system preference and
I understand.
so done.
Alternatively, if you can download it, then maybe you can share the. Let me see if that's possible. You can or open it in the tab just beside this screen. That way, you might be able to share it.
Okay, the tab next to where?
Yeah, you are using Chrome right now
I'm using Chrome here.
for the StreamYard?
Coming. Let me see privacy. Let me just a minute. I think a lot of people are waiting, and if we can share the screen, yeah, I can always talk. So,
All right. This person says, Samuel Lawrence says, this is a session I've been waiting for.
oh my God, I'm coming. Let me just try and say something.
All right, sir.
Okay.
Okay, guys. So just wait for as we have before Dr. Olumiwa is able to share his screen. Before that, if you have any question regarding regarding how do I call it now, regarding study opportunities, and you've been waiting to ask, this is the best time to to ask those questions right now. Let me quickly send a message to the Telegram group that we are also live. All right, with the study opportunity. All right, so guys, you can share this video with your friends right now. This is accepted. Okay, you can share this video with your friends. Let them know that we are live too. Okay, let your friends know that we are live. So we are just having a technical issue, but it will definitely be resolved right now. Okay. Samuel Lawrence says, can you share us a link to the speakers? Okay, I've answered that question the other time, right? We are going to share that link to you on on Telegram. Okay, Faith says, yes, I have patiently waiting for this session. All right, that's good. And I have a good news for you. If you stay to the end of the session, we have a fantastic good news for you from Dr. Olumuyiwa Igbalajobi. And I'm going to share that. But of course, we have some criteria to follow by the time we'll be doing that. Okay, so you're welcome back, sir.
I think it should work now. Oh, I think I lost the pan. I don't know. You can see my screen, right?
Not yet. Is this still giving you that warning?
Yeah, I already ensure the Google Chrome should allow, but I think I'm just gonna go with the flow. So,
okay,
yeah,
I know that will really help. Maybe you can send it to me via my.
Yeah, I can send it to you.
Then I will share it from this end.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. I think I have issues with StreamYard, or I should sign up with StreamYard. I don't know. So, good afternoon. Anyways, my name is Muyiwa Igbalajobi, and I work with the University of British Columbia. I work as a postdoctoral research fellow. So today, I would be talking about scholarship opportunities abroad. So, if you're interested in fully funded scholarship, there are several opportunities abroad where you can benefit. At the end of this talk, you can reach out to me at info@olumuyiwaigbalajobi.com. And briefly, I started my career from the University of Ekiti. I went to Christ School. I had my high school at Christ School. I left in 2002. I didn't make my O levels until 2005. After about 10 sittings, then I went to the University of Ado Ekiti. I was the president of microbiology, the department there in 2008 to 2010. Then I went back for my master's in 2012. Then in 2013, 6 months to the end of my master's, I got a South Korean government scholarship. I went to South Korea for my master's, and after my master's, I proceeded to Germany for my PhD. And last year, I moved to University of British Columbia as a postdoctoral research Fellow. So today I'll be talking about scholarship opportunities where you can leverage, and I also want to appreciate the organizer of this program. This is coming from Ekiti, and I'm proud to be from Ekiti. I'm from FRLI. So I started Scholarship Cafe last year, and the purpose of Scholarship Cafe is to bring information to people without paying for it. Like I saw a lack of information. Like there's this paucity, there's this gap that you have to look for agents to get scholarship abroad, and oftentimes these agents don't even know more than you do. So I started Scholarship Cafe, and so far we've reached out to over 30,000 people all over the world, from India to Pakistan to Ghana, Nigeria to Africa and other part of the world. So just last month I started a YouTube channel which is also called Scholarship Cafe, so that I can archive all my resources for people that are just following me on Twitter. Twitter is currently banned in Nigeria, so I quite understand that. So the today I'll talk about secrets of securing study opportunities abroad, and you can also send in your questions. So the first question is, okay, why should I study abroad? What are the benefits of international scholarship? Number one, you have a stable academic calendar. You don't have to struggle with the NASU, ASU, SANU strike. You know, when you get into school, you know the exact time you will graduate. And I mean, for instance, someone like me, I left my master's in EXU to pursue another master's in Korea. And it was like, you know, a lot of people that we started together in EXU, I still finished before them, even after I had repeated another master's for 3 years. So you have a stable academic calendar. This is one of the benefits of studying abroad and international scholarship. And the second point is that you have international exposure and collaboration. You meet different people from different country, and you collaborate together, and you can talk, you can share their ideas, and you know you work as a team. And the third one is like for studying abroad opportunities, you have the opportunity to have a career change. Maybe you read physics before, you want to change to data science, or you want to do like maybe mathematical modeling, or you are a mathematician and you want to change to computational biology. So they want to see that you're passionate about what you do. So there's no barrier like, okay, if I read biochemistry, I only have to do something related to biochemistry. So you can have a career change. These are the opportunities of studying abroad. And also get study, you get paid to study. For instance, I was on the South Korean government scholarship. I get my allowance at the end of, or even in advance for the month of April. I get my allowance at the end of March. So it is already fixed. So you only study, go there, study, do practicals, get paid. I mean, there's no sense of entitlement here, but the fact that they're getting paid to study, it makes a lot of difference. Like you do not have to work as well as studying, because it's not easy to study and combine it with hustling, like odd jobs around, because the stress alone in grad school, it's bigger than anything you can think about. Then one of the benefits of also international scholarships is the fact that you get free flights, you get visa fee covered. Some scholarships, including MasterCard, KGSP in Korea, covers your flight. I flew on Emirates Airline for the first time in my life for free, and also they covered my visa fee. Even some scholarships also provide laptops, they provide phone for you. They cover your accommodation and a host of other things. And also, I've talked about the issue of traveling out of your country with zero a month, and people are asking me, how is it possible? Yes, I traveled out of Nigeria for the first time with $100. It was $1 to 160 naira then. So I had $100, which was like 16,000 naira. All I needed to have is just to leave Nigeria, because I get a pickup at the airport from my school, and also 2 days after our arrival, they pay they call it settlement allowance, which is about $200, which is easy for you. I mean, it's okay for you to survive until they pay the stipends at the end of the month. So you can travel out of your home country without any money, because it's all covered. It's a fully paid, fully funded scholarship, which covers your flight, covers your settlement allowance, covers your pickup. You just need to get your luggage out of your home country, then get to your destination. Then also you have access to new culture, tradition, languages. I speak Korean. I don't speak German. Okay, so you have access to new cultures, get to know how people do things, get to understand different perspectives, which also affect the way you think in life. And another benefit of international scholarship is that you have better earning. Currently, I think a pound to Nigerian naira, it's about 700 naira or something like that. So if you are schooling in the UK, you get better earning. If you're schooling in the US, you also get better earning. And most importantly, there are limits to what you can earn. For instance, a PhD holder, there are limits to the fact that there are basic salary scale that you must be paid. So the company cannot pay below that. So you have better earning. There is labor law. These are the benefits of studying abroad. There is labor law abroad, and compared to where they exploit people and things like that. Also, another benefit of studying abroad is the fact that you have access to travel, like tourism. Like for us, we visited about, 10 countries for free. We don't apply for visa. If you're studying in Germany, you have access to over 25 Schengen countries where you don't have to apply for visa. You take your Nigerian passport with your resident permit. You're going to maybe Alicante in Spain, or you want to go to Croatia. Like the picture here is Santorini, where we visited, and the traveling experience is beautiful, and also it's cheap. Like you could get a tour and fro on some flight for less than 50 euro. So it's easy to explore the world. This is one part. Like I usually tell people, the educational route is one of the easiest parts you can use to explore the world and travel for what you want, and also to experience different tradition, people's orientation, and also different countries. I'm just gonna go straight to there are different sources of scholarship opportunities. How do you get scholarship opportunities? I've received several messages, and like from my personal email, I receive an average of 10 messages daily. People asking me, oh, how do I get scholarship opportunity? How do I even start on this scholarship journey? One easy thing that I usually tell people, because I'm an apostle of do it yourself. If you reach out to me and say, oh, how do I get scholarship to Canada? I have to drop my WhatsApp number. No, I don't do that. I provided so many resources on Twitter. So far in the last 1 year, I have over 59,000 tweets. And if you go there, if you go to my pin post on Twitter, you can see how to start to get to find scholarships abroad for free, which is something that comes with this sense of fulfillment when you do it yourself, which I've always tell people, you can do it yourself. There's nothing impossible for you to do. So there are different sources of scholarships, and one of them is the group. I mean the wider coverage, which is Google. You can search on Google like, okay, fully funded scholarship in the US for microbiology, fully funded scholarship. So much, and the network is so crappy. Also, fully funded scholarship from in microbiology in Canada, fully funded scholarship for biochemistry in Saudi Arabia. I've applied to several countries, and this is the way I get them. And also, you can get these on Google. Just type it. You see a lot of suggestions for you. So normalize the use of Google. And also, there are several scholarship sites. If you go to my Twitter page, Twitter is banned in Nigeria. Yeah, I know a lot of people want to be patriotic. So if you go to my website, I have over 31 scholarship sites, academic positions, different scholarship sites where you can subscribe and you get notification of scholarships every day. I still have notification subscribe for scholarship positions. I don't need scholarship, but because I have a lot of followers that are interested in scholarship. In fact, 98% of my followers want fully funded scholarship, and they cannot afford to pay any agent. And this is what I also preach. Like, you don't have to pay anybody. So subscribe to scholarship sites. There are different scholarship sites out there. They kind of categorize them on STEM and non-STEM on your major, like law, microbiology, physics. So you can subscribe to this to this website. You can see them on my own personal website. Twitter has been banned in Nigeria, but for people using VPN, you can look at for positions on Twitter. Just go to the search button, type PhD positions, you see a lot. Type your major, you see a lot. There are a lot of professors on Twitter that are advertising every day, which I usually retweet, and a lot of professors that just get into tenure track. They have funding, and you see a lot of people announcing, I became an assistant professor, I'll be recruiting. So these are also the sources of scholarship. I always tell people, if you're on Twitter, make sure you keep a clean slate, a clean digital footprint. I always tell people make it holy. Like make sure you're not sharing nudes or you're just sharing irrelevant things. There are a lot of professors out there. You can even DM and start a conversation. Oh, congratulations on your new position. I'd love to work with you. So you can reach out to them, and a lot of them are always open to talk to you and also to mentor you. And again, there are other sources such as LinkedIn. If you go on LinkedIn, go to the search button, type PhD position or master's position. Yeah, I understand the master's positions are quite limited compared to PhD positions. And like Matthew said recently, yes, you can get a PhD position with your bachelor degree. You don't need a master's. In fact, most labs, most professors do not recruit master students because they feel it doesn't work for them. 18 months, you fly away. But for PhD, 5 years, you stay in the lab, you contribute to the growth of the lab, you write papers. So if you go on LinkedIn, type PhD positions, you get an average of 10,000 positions in 1 month on LinkedIn. So just might be there. Another source of scholarship opportunity is YouTube. There are several YouTube channel out there, including mine. Every month, I do at least one live stream, which I talk about scholarship opportunities, the current openings, and like I'm going to do in the next 1 week on the 31st of the month. I'll talk about current openings where you can apply for, like the deadlines. Then you can bring in your questions. So there are a lot of YouTube channels out there. Pivotal, hosted by Ali Ijisha, and a lot of other YouTube channels out there where you can talk about, oh, you're applying for the scholarship list, MasterCard, KGSP. I've appeared on several YouTube channel to talk about how to apply for KGSP and the opportunities out there. So another way you can also get scholarship is like attending conferences and webinars. There are positions. If you attend conferences or webinars, you can meet a PI or a professor that came to present, and you can ask questions, and you can also talk about the fact that you want to work with them. My current position, I got it because I attended a conference in Korea in 2017. I went through the brochure of the conference, the book of abstract. Then I saw the name of my current professor. Then I sent him a cold email, and there's where I am today. So make use of every asset you have, make use of every tool you have out there to your own taste. And another thing is direct referral. When I talk about direct referral, it's like maybe you have friends in China, you have friends in Canada, you have friends in Turkey, you have friends in Tunisia, you have friends in Israel, and the lab is recruiting or the professor is recruiting. So it's important to keep an LD network, like LD friends, like keep it doesn't have to be big. You just need few very close cycle people that believe in you, people that you think your goal and dream aligns. And so when they see positions in their life, they can easily tell you, hey, do you have anyone interested in this position? And this is also something like you see when professor put up positions out there, they must have sent it to their friends like, okay, do you have anyone to recommend for me? So you have to ensure that you keep a close friends of people that are intentional. You can keep a group of friends that are interested in scholarship. And if you have mentors out there, if you have seniors out there that are in foreign countries that are working with professors that are similar to your major, you can talk to them. Oh, I'm interested in scholarship. I remember when I got the South Korean government and the Chinese government scholarship, it was a senior of mine. And when I was in the university, that sent the links to me. So it's important um, um, to keep circle of people that are healthy and people that are intentional. So I'm gonna go to the checklist of graduate abroad, the checklist of graduate abroad application, and the first on my list is your curriculum vitae. If you are interested in applying for graduate study abroad, if you're interested in scholarship, the first thing you need to do is to get your curriculum vitae. It's important to understand the difference between the Nigerian form of CV compared to what is applicable in outside Nigeria, except required, except stated. Please take away your date of birth, your gender, your nationality, your next of kin, your number of children, as well as your religion from your CV. I know for Europe, especially for Erasmus scholarship, the Europa scholarship probably requests for date of birth or something like that. So except required, please take away those things. Your curriculum vitae is the first impression of who you are. I recently made a video on this on my YouTube channel. You can check it out. It's the first impression of who you are. And I also made 8 common mistakes like people make. So in their CV, you need to keep your format consistent. You need to keep the fonts consistent. You need, if you're using Times Roman, use Times Roman all through. If you're using I use black and white, so you don't want to put red on one of the headings, you put blue on one of the heading, or put indigo on the other headings. You don't want to have a rainbow color. So keep your CV consistent, keep your CV simple yet loaded. So I'll also talk about the issue of action verbs. Like I analyzed, I investigated, I did this. A lot of people that are watching me right now might be undergrad, might still be in the university. I want to tell you, don't be timid, don't be scared. You have all it takes to land that fully funded scholarship. To God be the glory. A lot of people on my radar got fully funded admission scholarships into the US this year, and all they did is to take the scholarship admission letter and they offer to the embassy without proof of fund. A lot of them with a first class and 2-1 had direct PhD admission, and they all started with having a well written curriculum vitae. I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying like if you want to pay someone to write your CV, I'm not categorically saying it's 100% wrong. But again, if you cannot write your own CV, this is a story about you. There are a lot of formats out there on university side, even on my own page that I gave. There are different links that you can look for academic CV format, edit it, follow the rules. It is your own story. Put it out there. You don't want to have a CV that talks about your role in INEC and you're applying for a position in microbiology. So it's disjointed. The CV must first start with your contact details, your name, your email address, as well as your phone number. You don't want to put 5 to 10 email addresses, or you want to don't load it with your Instagram links, don't load it with your LinkedIn links, don't load it with your Twitter link. Keep it simple, because it takes an average professors receive about 25 emails, let's say a week, and it takes 6 seconds for you to convince a professor. So you need to make your CV on point. Okay, I'm applying to a position in psychology. Maybe the professor is working in clinical psychology. My research interest, I have to put it like, okay, clinical psychology. So that when the professor sees it for the first time, he realizes that, oh, I think this person is kind of, let's say this field of interest marries with mine. Let's see. I want to read for that. But when you start with the profile summary that talks about I'm energetic, I can work under pressure, I can do this, I can do that, then it's generic. So you want to keep it simple, and you want to keep it personalized. So more information on how to make your own academic CV, you can check my YouTube channel for that, or also check my Twitter page. I also had a lot of threads on CV on LinkedIn. So the next is to search for the right school. And like I said, you can search on Google for schools. You can also search like, okay, maybe for instance, in Canada, we have the Canadian Society for Microbiology, where you have all the schools in Canada that offers a degree in microbiology with masters and PhD. So you can also go on Google, search for, okay, maybe chemistry in Switzerland, chemistry in Germany, PhD in chemistry in let's say Norway. So you'll see a series of schools, and on those schools you see a particular section which talks about the faculty or their staff. So you can go through those lists, check for someone that is closely related to your field of interest, then you can write them, okay, I'm interested in your field, or I'm interested in your research group. And this goes to the next checklist, which is your cold email. From PhD to getting a postdoc position, I've gotten all this using cold email. Cold email is an average version of your statement of purpose, and it has to deal with the fact that, hi, my name is Olumi Iwaigbajabi. I had a first degree in microbiology. These are my hands-on experience. My undergraduate thesis was on this. I saw your group that you're working on this. I'm interested in working in your group, maybe to fulfill my dream of becoming a professor. It's a very common line, like people in academia wants to read, like you want to mentor someone. So when you see that line, it's like, okay, maybe let me read for that. Then you want to talk about, okay, I've read your paper on so and so, and I would love to discuss some research questions. Don't make it generic, or maybe, oh, I read your paper and it's interesting. What is interesting about our paper? Talk about what is interesting about their research interest, identify a particular gap, constructively criticize them. Don't talk about, oh, maybe if you have done it like this, it will have worked like this. Yeah, a lot of people, we work in the lab 24/7 to produce a paper. You don't want to talk to a professor like, oh, what you produce is really shitty. Maybe if you give me the chance, I could do better. So constructively identify a gap. Oh, I notice you use this. Would probably love to explore this part, and use that forum to create, like, ask for a time to talk about research questions. Then you can talk about your leadership skill, you can talk about your volunteering skill, and maybe you can also talk about the fact that you're a first generational scientist and maybe you are also a minority. So that's the essence of code email. Keep it simple, 400 to 500 words. It's okay. Don't write code email and start talking about Buhari is a bad guy, or the fact that you cannot feed, or the fact that you cannot afford to go to college, or the fact that you cannot afford 3 square meal a day. Yeah, I'd ship it to real. I understand, but it also rains everywhere. So a particular lab or a particular professor wants to view you as the fact that you're bringing something along to add to the particular research group, and not the fact that you're just being sympathetic, because they also get grants from funding agencies which they have to be answerable to. There's no free money anywhere. So one important part of your application document, if you want to study abroad or you want to apply for scholarship, is your statement of purpose. And I've made several videos on these as well. And I had a live stream on statement of purpose, which I also dropped my dummy. I wrote a dummy, like a fictional statement of purpose. So for the purpose of this presentation, please don't copy my statement of purpose. You can use it as a flow to guide you to write here. So the statement of purpose, like, you have to talk about the introduction. The introduction is the yourself, what you've done so far. You can also indicate that maybe the problem of antifungal or the problem of antibiotic resistance led you to study microbiology, or the problem of child labor led you to study, let's say, like something in law, or the problem of indigenous nation stimulated you or motivated you to study indigenous law or intellectual property, or the problem of ethics motivated you to study bioethics. So you have to start with something that is catchy, then leads to your introduction. Okay, I had a first degree in this and that. My thesis was on this, and in order to further, I want to apply for the position of a grad student in your reputable university. Then you talk about the hands-on experience you have. Here, a lot of people do say they do not have research experience. I usually tell them it's a lie. Think about your thesis, think about your internship, think about the SciWest you did while you're in the university for 3 months. So bring all your research experience together. You had methodology in your degree. Let's say you're in biochemistry, you collected some samples, or microbiology, you collected clinical environmental samples. You used biochemical tests to identify some things. No matter how small it is, even at the undergrad level, you're not expected to have, like nature or science paper standard of expertise. So bring all those expertise together. Use active words. I investigated this and that. The result of my findings shows this and that. In order to understand more about this field, I'm applying for the graduate position. Then talk about a particular group you're interested in. Maybe previously you sent a cold email and the professor has given you the go ahead to mention his name. I didn't mention it in the statement of purpose, like, oh, Professor Ulumi Biology has given me the go ahead to work in his lab, and I'll be working on so, and so. And we've discussed several research questions. So indicate the lab you want to work there. Then next is not just about CGPA. If you have less than 2.1, your statement of purpose can change a lot of things for you. Like, you can, buttress the point that, okay, maybe back in the uni, you had a problem, or maybe hardship led to, like, affected your grades, and you came back, you finished well, even if you don't. But your statement of purpose can change a lot about your grade, about yourself. So if you write it very well, after the fact that you've mentioned the professor has agreed to supervise you, also indicates that you have leadership skill, you have volunteering skills, like you've attended webinars, you've attended seminars, you've attended conferences. You also want to indicate that you have good communication and writing skill, which is evident in your conferences, because in grad school you have to write papers, you have to give talks. So indicate that in your statement of purpose, and praise the school, like, okay, you because of the cutting edge technology, wide international community. Like, praise the school, let them know that you feel them, let them know you know something about the school. Just don't just be generic, and it's okay to keep your statement of purpose to about 800 to 1,000 words. The longer it is, the high chance that it's disjointed, it's boring. So have a flow. Talk about your statement of purpose in terms of who you are previously, who you want to be, who you are presently, and who you intend to be. So talk about the introduction, talk about why you're applying to grad school, talk about your future goal. Maybe you want to become a professor. You indicate it in your statement of purpose and owe it to the school that the aim will be fulfilled if they grant you a position in their grad school. Then next, the standardized test, IELTS, TOEFL, GRE, GMAT. In Canada, most of the universities exempt Nigerian from writing IELTS. In Asia, if you're applying to Asia, which most people don't go, and there are a lot of opportunities there. The schools they exempt IELTS for people from Nigeria. If you're listening, if you're from other part of Africa or other part of the world, you can try to write the school to know if they exempt. In the US, I know a lot of schools request for TOEFL from Nigeria, but Samuel Ajayi and a lot of others, Zainab, they started a movement, I think, a few months ago to write some schools to waive Nigerians from submitting TOEFL, which a lot of schools actually, accepted. And even some schools, I knew someone that the school had to pay Duolingo test for that to at least, attempt the exam and, so that the application documents can be completed. So be sure you write the school to know what they require. A lot of schools in the US, which I've posted in last month, also waive GRE this year. But again, that they waive GRE doesn't mean that you don't have to do it. If you have GRE, it gives you also leverage. And I've seen a lot of people, even with HND, that had GRE and they got fully funded master's or PhD position. So your grade, your degree is not a limitation. Just make sure you identify the weak points and the strong points. The next is your research proposal. This is optional, especially if you are applying to a lab in the US or even Korea. Most of the labs in North America or even in Europe, they already have a timetable, they already have a proposal, they already have a funding which has been sponsored. I mean, like a proposal which has been funded. So if you just need to key into the lab to continue working in that field, and this is where expertise come in place, and this is why the problem of disparity in the system, the gap in our educational system, come into being. Because okay, at a PhD level, if you're applying to Germany, you are expected to know some skills. So, and this is quite limited in our own case, especially with lack of political power, I mean, political will for funding in our educational system. So research proposal is optional. And in most cases, if you are to submit a research proposal, your professor will guide you to write that. Letter of recommendation is the next one. If you're applying for scholarship abroad, please get your letter of recommendation ready. Most schools would take letter of recommendation maybe 6 months old or a year old. You can also get a letter of recommendation from your lecturers. Get the e-copy, they can sign it, you'll save it, and you can use it anytime. Your letter of recommendation must be strong, must be as strong as your SOP, because the people recruiting or the people evaluating your credentials do not see you. They can only depend on what your professor or your supervisor has actually wrote in your recommendation letter. So do not get recommendation letter from a random person like someone you met on Twitter, like me. There's no way I can recommend you because I have to state the capacity that I know you. So recommendation letters I always request for 3, and 3 are often getting from my bachelor, master's, and PhD supervisor. So if you're working in the industry, you at least get 2 letter of recommendation and 1 from academia and 1 from the industry. So make sure your letter of recommendation is on point. Let it capture your recent achievement. Let it capture your strong point. Let it capture your leadership skill. Let it capture your volunteering skill, and let it capture the fact that you are ready for grad school and you can survive in any environment. The next is transcript. If you're applying for grad school study abroad, the transcript is important for most Nigerian university. I don't know, maybe 80% of universities in Nigeria makes it a hell of thing to get transcript, except few schools like FUTA, which they also have their own other side of it. So if you're applying abroad, it's important to start processing your transcript now. And in all my application to Korea to China, I've used unofficial transcript. How do you do this? Get a student copy of your transcript. Um, Go to the state ICOT in your state. You stamp it as original certified copy, save it up, put it in your flash or your system as e-copy. You can use it to apply for any university. Most of the universities in the US actually allows you to use unofficial transcript until they give you admission. So when you get your admission, you can request for your official transcript. I've actually spoken to the authority of EXU, and I think they're speeding up their transcript process. And if you have issues, you can talk to me, and maybe we can do something about that. But make sure you have your transcript ready. It's also advisable as soon as you're graduating. For those in the uni, you can start processing your transcript so that you don't get to experience stories that touch later. The last on my list for the checklist for grad study abroad is application fee. I understand this is a major bottleneck for a lot of applicants. For instance, several schools charge $75 to $100 for application fee, and this is bigger. Like it's way, like it's more than the applicable minimum wage in Nigeria. So do not be scared because of application fee. There are several ways you can do this. Okay, you can solicit from friends or talk to your professor or request for application fee waiver. I posted PhD position in a particular school in the US a few days ago, and they talked about removing an application fee so that it doesn't serve as a bottleneck for people to apply. So you can target application fee waivers from schools, and you can get this by writing a letter requesting for application fee waiver. Talk about your income, your family income, and the fact that you cannot afford this, or you attend open session. Most of these universities, when they do webinars open session, they give participant application fee waiver code, so you can get to use that. Get to talk to people in the school, write the graded admission office if there is applicable, if there's available application fee waiver in that university, or institute you are applying to. So there are several scholarship. I mean, we've talked about the checklist. We've talked about sources of scholarship and the benefit of studying abroad. So there are several scholarships you can apply, for out there. The number one is Korean government scholarship, which I'm a proud product of the South Korean system. I always reference my growth and my expertise in mycology to South Korea. The South Korean government scholarship covers your tuition, it covers your flight, it covers your stipend, it covers the medical insurance, it covers settlement allowance. Like I said, you might decide to travel to Korea without taking anything along because you get a pick up at the airport, then you get a settlement allowance 2 days after, which is about $200. And also, when you're done with your program, they give you completion grant. Oh, you want to go back home? Oh, we get this amount so that you use it to settle in your home country together with your flight ticket back to your home country. So there are several categories for the South Korean government scholarship. You have the bachelor degree, which is for 5 years. Like seriously, you get fully funded scholarship bachelor for 5 years in Korea, and also master's degree 2 years. You have 1 year of language, which makes it 3. The 1 year of language is compulsory. It's not difficult. I learned it. It's even fun. You travel to several places. It's covered, and then you also have the doctorate degree is 3 years plus 1 year of language is 4. Then you have associate degree. So if you're interested in the South Korean government scholarship, I've made several threads on Twitter, and I'll also be making a thread about it on my YouTube page soon. And there are several ways you can get a scholarship. It's a little tricky because for Nigeria we have just 8 slot for the university route. There are 2 routes for you to apply for the South Korean government scholarship. Is either you apply to the embassy in Nigeria or you apply to a university in South Korea. For the South University route, we only have 8 slots. So imagine 1,000 Nigerians applying. So everything has to be in place in terms of your CGPA, in terms of your letter of recommendation, in terms of your standardized tests, because they also give preference to STEM, though this scholarship covers everything. I mean, STEM and non-STEM. If you're in law, if you're if you want to do MBA, you can apply for the Korean government scholarship. Also, there are several university scholarship in Korea. In fact, Korea is looking for international students, and they have their target for a particular year. So, if you are interested in the enriched culture and diversity. Korea is number one tech country in the world right now, and you want to go there, apply to Korea, you might get a fully funded scholarship. I've seen people, even undergrad, that got fully funded scholarship for their program from the university. But the next is Chinese government scholarship, which is China as one of the biggest platform for scholarship in the world. The Chinese government scholarship, which I also had in 2013 for my master's, covers your tuition, covers your accommodation, covers monthly stipend. They don't cover flights. That is why I choose Korea. So you also have the ANSO scholarship, which gives 200 slot for masters and 300 slot for PhD. In Nigeria, we from successful applicants and ANSO scholarship this year, which is strictly for science. I think we were like over 30 from they are like over 30 from Nigeria. So if you're interested in like building your skills, I usually tell people for you to focus on Canada is okay, for you to focus on the US is okay. But if you're a microbiologist like me, it might be hard for you to get into Canada or the US with your level of expertise, especially if you don't have molecular expertise. So you can consider going to China, they train you from scratch. You can consider going to Korea, they train you from scratch. And I want to assure you, by the time you're done, you will explore any part in the world. They also have UCAS scholarship, University of Chinese Academy of Science. My time is almost gone. You have the NEST scholarship, you have the DAD scholarship, you have Marie Curie scholarship in Europe. You have the Humboldt fellowship for people that are watching me that are interested in postdoc. You have the Erasmus scholarship for Europe. You have the MasterCard scholarship. There are several criterions in this scholarship in UBC here. It covers your flight, it covers monthly stipend, it covers everything you can think about. Then you have the DKFZ scholarship for people interested in cancer biology in Germany, and you have several scholarship, teaching assistantship, graduate assistantship, and most importantly, right professors, because they have funding and they can provide funding for you, which covers your tuition and would also cover your insurance and also covers your medical. So it's important to look out for this scholarships. So DAD scholarship is one big scholarship in the world. Like there are several scholarships. Like for instance, I think the current one covers till October. So that is that on scholarship. And if you want further information, you can reach out to me, info@olumuyu@balajobi.com. I don't offer paid session for people. I don't offer paid mentoring. I've answered so many questions that people usually ask me. And yeah, I'll be glad to be a part of your journey. And for the resources out there on my website, on my YouTube channel, on Twitter, you can go there. It's for free. On my Twitter, I have a pin post of over 40, which can help you get started and get you scholarship. So thank you so much for having me. It's so sad I couldn't share my slides, but I'll provide it for Matthew at the end of this session. So I'm gonna entertain questions. If you have questions, you can ask me.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't share my slides. Yeah, so I'm just gonna send it.
It's totally fine, actually. Guys, before we go on, can you take a screenshot right now and share with on your social media later on with the hashtag Ekiti Digital Summit, right? Make sure that you tag Dr. Igbala Jobi, okay? Make sure that you tag him later on. Okay, so let us go to the question. That was a very, very, detailed, detailed information. And we have a lot of questions here, but
okay.
let me quickly... Okay, let me quickly get some of them for you to see too. Of course, people say they have been waiting for this session, and that is fine. Yeah, so this person says, of course, I think you answered that, but then to claim about it, is age a barrier to undergraduate scholarship application?
Yes, for most undergraduate scholarship application. For instance, the KGSP, the next, you have the one in Japan, you have the Chinese government scholarship that offers undergrad, you have the Korean government scholarship that offers undergrad. There is age limit. So most of the scholarships, if you're over 24, they might not consider you. But you can apply for like university scholarship, which age shouldn't be a barrier. So there are several partial scholarship, even in Canada here for undergrad. So the only problem is like for you to convince the visa officer, like, okay, I'm 40, I just want to start undergrad. Like
Okay.
a lot of them just see it as a way to japa, and you get rejected.
Okay, that's great. This person says, Orimaye Busuye says, I have HND accounting, 15 years post experience, and I'm writing ICANN final state professional level. Am I eligible for any scholarship on this program?
Well, yeah, your professional experience might count. I've seen a lot of people. Like recently, there was, I wrote, "Thank you, Ma. Thank you for inspiring us." She's 62. She just won Chevening scholarship. So like,
Yeah.
and I was like, this coming application window is gonna be crazy because I mean, someone with 15 years of experience applying with someone with just fresh out of the university. So, like,
Yeah.
your 15 years of experience could count a lot. There are several scholarships, the Swedish scholarship out there, and you just need to look right into where you want to apply to. So, you're eligible for scholarship. Age is not a barrier. In fact, your 15 years of post experience is a big deal. So, you just need to connect your statement of purpose and tell them, like, okay, this is what you have so far, and this is where you're pursuing academia. So, like, you want to, like, package it. It's I usually tell people, see, it's all about packaging. There's no big deal out there. Just put it like this is what you've been doing so far, and this is what you intend to do. And this is the I usually tell people you can get scholarship irrespective of your background. But the question is, what problem do you want to solve?
Hmm.
So if you are a lawyer, people say they don't get scholarship for people in law. I tell them no, you haven't thought about indigenous law. You haven't thought about intellectual property. I mean, recently a professor just advertised. I just got a funded for the impact of AI in like criminal justice.
Hmm.
So you just need to. I mean, fine. I understand. Like, okay, the STEM is heavily funded, but for you to get scholarship, you might have to look at interdisciplinary, the interconnection of STEM and non-STEM, and this is where the word is. Like, if you're looking for funding for finance, if you're looking for funding for accounting, the question is, what do you want to solve? Because accounting and finance is already automated.
Hmm.
So no funding agency will give you money to come and flex or come and tour the world. You have to understand what you're bringing along. You've identified a particular problem, and this is what I think I can do differently.
Okay, thank you, sir. What problem do you want to solve? So that is so profound. Oluwa Shiofumi Fatoyinbo says, what's the scholarship probabilities for a second class lower degree?
Well, it's I would say, though I understand the place of CGPA, it's very important, but I'm sorry to say, a lot of first class students probably get outnumbered with people with 2-1. Why? Because
Hmm.
maybe a lot of them feels like, okay, the grade matters most. No, the CGPA matters, but again, I talked about letter of recommendation. Of recent, there was a scholarship, I think in Poland, that gives percentage, maybe 60% for letter of recommendation and 40 for CGPA. So
Wow.
for you to have, if you have a second class lower degree, it's not suicidal. It's not a death sentence. I have someone that had 2 fully funded scholarship in China with tutu.
Hmm.
So
Wow.
you might have to walk extra mile. Okay, publish some papers, make a review, attend seminars, attend webinars. Like, your statement of purpose can change a lot of things for you. Maybe it was hardship, or you had a problem that made you to have second class lower degree. So you can make a statement for that in your statement of purpose. So if you have a second class lower degree, please, it's not the end of the world. You just need to work. You need to work harder, more than maybe people with 2-1 or or first class. And like I said, I know of people having fully funded scholarship with tutu, China, like if you have Chinese government scholarship, and so even people with HND. So it's nothing is impossible. It all depends on you, and that's why I always talk about resilience. I talk about determination, and I talk about write your story yourself.
Wow. Now I understand the reason. There's a guy who learned content writing from Go Global, our company, and then he applied to 3 universities abroad to study for his PhD. And then one university in the US actually picked him. and
Yeah.
I actually wrote his letter of recommendation. In fact, I poured all my mind into
You
that
see,
letter
yeah, that's the point. I mean,
as the CEO of the company. Yeah.
yeah. So for imagine you writing, okay, maybe you don't have a relationship with a professor and you just like, sir, I need a letter of recommendation. Okay, I know I'll be that boy from university. Let me just write something. But you get a letter of recommendation of 2 pages from a professor, and it was like, oh, he was the first person in my lab to discover this. He was the first person to do this. He communicate with people well. This is what he does. These are the qualities. I mean, you need to sell yourself out there. And also, when I talk about recommendation letters, you also have to invest in relationships. You can't wake up and just write someone that probably is still going through the fact that they haven't paid their salary to write you a letter of recommendation. So, but
That's
if you have a constant talk with a person, you have a relationship, maybe every month. Hi, sir. I just want to say hello. And by the time you need something, I mean, this thing is all about mutualistic approach. So that's the way it is.
maybe one of these days we're going to have a session on strategic relationship or networking, with our participants so that we can all learn more on that. Like there's a guy who in also a company, he came to learn web design. He has never been serious, and he is telling me to write a recommendation letter. I didn't even do as if I saw.
I mean, because you also put your name out there, so
Yeah.
it's about your integrity. I mean, that's the way it is. You don't just get recommendation letter from random people. Like, okay, maybe I met you on Twitter. How did I get to know you? I met you on Twitter. You tweet really well, and I want to attest to the fact that you are good. No, it doesn't work that way. So your letter of recommendation must come from people that knows you, from people that's why most university recommends your supervisor, bachelor, master's, or PhD, or your lecturer recommends you. They know those ones will be objective. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, sir. So Orimolade Moyin Olua says for first class graduate is GR necessary?
Well, GRE and CGP are
Maybe.
two different things. So you want to be sure the school you're applying to, they waive GRE. And like I said, yeah, fine. Most schools waive GRE. I know there are several schools in North America that waives GRE because of COVID. But again, once there is application fee waiver, once there is GRE waiver, thousands of people will apply.
That's right.
And the competition begins, like looking at someone that's coming from the industry with 15 years of post experience. Like, I mean, you can imagine how the competition will be. So I always tell people with your first class, there are several organizations in Nigeria, which I'm also working in something similar that gives GRE application fee like for free. You just need to write a good statement or application document or like an essay. So you can get, I know GRE is not cheap. I understand, but again, if this takes you to achieve what you want to achieve, I would always suggest you write GRE. Like I said, I have several people from Ekiti State, like even from our university, EXU, that got fully funded PhD offer 5 years. They're currently in the US. After one even had three. One had three offers before he completed this National Youth Service Corps. I was like, what? We had to like. I mean, people came around on Twitter for the guy when he told them like, "Hey guys, I just finished NYC. I had no funding to apply for visa." We all rallied around him to raise funding for him. And I remember, I tagged a lot of guys. AY. I tagged even home mother Irelu on this post. Like this is our guy from Ekiti. 3 fully funded PhD offers in chemistry in the US. Everything he did in NYC was to use. Maybe one of this time we'll talk about everything he did in NYC was to use his Alawi to write GRE, write IELTS.
He's so passionate, and that's
I'm telling
cool.
you. And he had 3 fully funded offers, and he was confused on which one to take. And within 72 hours on Twitter, we rallied around him. We raised the money he needed for his visa and other things. So please, with the first class, don't waste it. Write GRE. I always feel bad when I read about first class, maybe microbiology or chemistry going into another field, like start selling things. I understand the system is not so okay, but please you've worked to get out first class. Don't waste them. Get whatever you want to get out there. Like I said on my pin post on Twitter, there's this Ice Scholar initiative. There are several Michael something initiatives that they give money for GRE. They help people. Even some scholars that are coming up are even partnering with organizations in Nigeria to, like, have discounted amounts for GRE and IELTS. So please go out there and write to GRE. You made a first class. Back it up with GRE. Shoot to the US. It might just be in the US next year.
Amazing. That's prophetic for someone here today. Happy. All right. Faith says, what's your Twitter name and website? Probably we're going to provide that your Twitter handle again.
Yeah,
we're going to share it in the Telegram community, but you can also talk about it.
Yeah, my Twitter handle is Olumuyiwa Ayo. Olumuyiwa, then OLUMUYIWAAYO. Then my website is olumuyiwagbalajobi.com. So yeah, it's also on my Twitter.
Yes, olumuyiwagbalajobi.com. All right. Yeah. So you can see the screen of Olumuyiwa on your screen right now. That is Dr. Olumuyiwa Igbalajobi. Okay. So just type the two names, Olumuyiwa Igbalajobi.com. And you're good to go. All right. Now we have a question from Ulutola. Says, do you need to have an admission before applying for scholarship?
Well, it all depends on where you're applying. For instance, in Korea, it's concurrent. Most scholarships, they are always concurrently run. In Korea, for instance, you apply to the university gives you they recommend you for the scholarship body. But again, like I said, it's really competitive. So you can get recommended by the university, but you don't get recommended by the government. For instance, you have 1,000 people applying for Nigeria, and you're all struggling for 8 slots. So a lot of Nigerians will get accepted by the university, and they don't get picked by the scholarship body. But maybe the university will now contact you, if you have, if you can do self-sponsorship, then yeah, the admission is waiting for you. So in most cases, you may have to apply. I know of I think Chevening scholarship and also the Commonwealth. Probably you have to apply to the university, and then you indicate or something like that for the scholarship. So it all depends on the scholarship you're applying for. And so scholarship, you need a supervisor, you need a university, and it all goes through concurrently. I know in China, for instance, once you get the school to accept you, you are 90% okay that you will get a scholarship. Even if you don't get a government scholarship, you get a school scholarship.
Great. Charles Adile, we've already answered your questions earlier. Samuel Lawrence says, can we have a sample of the curriculum vitae?
Yeah, I have it on my website. I have it on Twitter. I made a YouTube video on cold email and CV sample. I have my CV format at the description section. It's a Google Doc, so you can see my code email format as well as my CV format. So you can get it. You can watch my video on 8 common mistakes in CV and also how to make a winning academic CV. It's on YouTube, so go there. I'm sure the food is ready for you to chop. So.
Okay. All right. I just want to display your. Am I correct? Olumuyiwa Igbalajobi.
Perfect. Right? Perfect. Yeah.
Perfect. To the nenext question. What about HND graduates?
Yeah, I've addressed that, and I've made several threads on that on Twitter, and I have a cousin that got an admission in the US without even West evaluation. There are 2 ways. Okay, you can apply for direct admission with your HND. There are schools in the US that they don't care. And also you can do West evaluation. Like for West, you can evaluate your HND to make it equivalent to a bachelor degree. So in those 2 ways, you just go there and apply. You can back up with GRE. If you do GRE and with your HND, you can get a fully funded PhD admission in the US. It's very possible. So HND is not a barrier for you. Go out there. I've made several threads on people with tutu, people with HND. You can apply for scholarship, though the chances are limited, but nothing is impossible. Yep.
All right, Adekweju, your question has been answered already. And Samuel Lawrence says, I hope we can have access to this YouTube session after. No, actually you can, but you have to upgrade to our VIP class, and then that one we'll share with you in the Telegram community. All right, same question from Oke Damilola. All right, there's a good question here. It said, I'm 800 level. Please, you see, if you are going to apply to scholarship, you have to learn how to write your all right.
Right, it's pardonable.
I'm a 100 level student of University of Ibadan Psychology Department. Do I have a chance of getting a scholarship abroad to study?
Well, it depends. If you want to jackpot, like you're in 100 level, you're tired of the system already, and you want to leave, or you want to wait after you graduate. I mean, so these are two different questions which are not captured here. So if you're in 100 level, I will advise you, like, okay, focus on your grade, graduate well. But if you're looking at the perspective of the scenario in Nigeria, we've been there. Yeah, there's no sane system in the world. I understand, but again, if you're considering leaving right now, like, okay, you want to leave, yeah, there are several undergraduate scholarship out there which you can apply for. Like I said, I talked about the Korean government scholarship, I talked about Japan, I talked about China. But for physiology, okay, I've said it. For physiology, you may have to think about other aspect of what you really want to do. Maybe you want to consider other aspect of biomedical sciences. So because physiology, I don't know, it depends on your goal. What do you want to become in the future? So it's all about you. I usually tell people, own it. Ask yourself, what do I want to do? If you're tired of the system, yeah, you can look out for several scholarships out there and apply using your yeah, the only qualification or the only academic credentials you have right now is either your white or NECO. So also you have a leverage since you're in 100 level. Yeah, in some countries like Germany or the Netherlands, you just need the transcript from your 100 level to navigate the system. You don't have to go through the student colleague. Because yeah, like Germany, if you don't have such, you have to go through the student colleague, which is more like you going for pre-degree, then you write your JAMB exam to enter the university, which is there are limited slots and it's not easy. So you can make use of the 100 level transcript to apply for opportunities in Germany. Though right now to get an interview slot, it's even hard. And yeah, it's German educational system. The tuition is free, but you need at least 6 million naira in your block account to show that yes, you can survive in Germany. So that's it.
Doc, I hope we're not taking too much of your time, although it's my session that is next, but the next session is just announcement and
it's fine.
So let's just use this to take questions from people. Samuel Lawrence says, what about someone that doesn't have industry experience? Can such person make use of 2 university professors as reference?
Oh yes, you've answered that. If you don't have industry experience, you are required to submit references from your professor. So most of the letter of recommendation, I think it's always 3. So yeah, submit 3 letter of recommendation from your professors and make sure that they write something that are distinct. Don't just go through them and give them. I've seen people that they requested a letter of recommendation and the 3 professors wrote the same thing, word for word. It doesn't make sense. So like let them write it their own way. Yeah, there's nothing bad in you for you to proofread it, and also, like I said, it's important to update them with your achievements. Send them your CV. Okay, sir, I just volunteer for so. I just did this. I just led my CDS group in camp. These are the roles I played. I mean, I remember applying for the Chinese government scholarship and the Korean government scholarship. I used my Nigerian format of CV, the next of kin, the religion, and everything, and I still got a scholarship. Like when I think about it, I think about my statement of purpose. I think about my recommendation letter that stated I was a president of NAMS, that stated that I led several campaigns when I was in Ibadan against women trafficking and child labor. So make sure your letter of recommendation is weighty and it carries a lot of strength for you.
All right, thank you, Doc. Juliet says, Doc, all North American letter of recommendation is usually a link that will be sent directly to the lecturers for them to put and write back to university. I think this is about building relationship, like you mentioned.
Exactly. I mean, a lot of them would even like, okay, a lot of lecture of your supervisors or professors, if you have a relationship with them, they will even send you the draft. Like, okay, are you okay with this, or should I add more? So like I've received several links to also fill recommendation letter. It's either you attach a PDF or you copy and paste. So it's still the same format. So if you don't have a relationship, if you don't have an history with them, then it becomes a problem.
Great. Oluwatope Yafet says, I'm a 400 level anatomy XU. When and how can I start my scholarship process to study medicine, sir?
Okay, I know medicine scholarship, it's almost impossible. Nothing is impossible, I usually tell people, but medicine, it's I think for most universities, it's not lucrative for them to fund it. So like yeah, so to get scholarship for medicine, it might be hard, but I know several people that went to Ukraine, that went to China to study medicine and surgery, and it's not expensive. So I should look at it that way. So if you want to do medicine after 400 level anatomy, the question is, are there different things you can do aside medicine? But if it is your first love, then yeah, why not try it? So you may have to consider self finance, or you look for schools that charges less. And yeah, Ukraine, China, yeah, there are places you can explore. And also I know for Canada, to get a slot for medicine and surgery, you need a first degree, and the gain preference are given to people that are citizens and people that has the permanent residence. So and the slots are limited yearly, so it's a bottleneck. Yep.
Thank you, sir. Ola Jubutu. This person is age 40 plus now. Says, I read urban and regional planning with PGD and even registered. Age 40 plus now, professionally. Can I be privileged to apply for master scholarship?
Well, like I said, there are several scholarships out there. I've received this kind of information severally from people that are even 50. And like I mentioned earlier, there was this woman that just got Chevening scholarship at 62. So it all depends on you, and yeah, there's no limitation for you as long as you're determined. You can try the Chevening scholarship. There are Swedish scholarship. There are several scholarships out there. Hopefully one of these days I'll make a video on scholarships for people that are over certain age. So yeah, you can apply for master's scholarship, and there are also several scholarships even in the UK. Like people feel yeah, UK don't sponsor people, like they always ask for your money. Like for instance, they give you tuition of £20,000 and they give you a scholarship of £2,000. So but again, I've seen people with MBA scholarship in the UK, and it's under maybe leadership, African women leadership MBA scholarship. Because in the world now, it's all about EDI. It's about equality, diversity, and inclusion. And these are the people also want to see what how you've contributed to this terrain. So yeah, the urban and regional planning. Maybe you think about there are several aspects of urban and regional planning. Think about GIS. Think about all this spatial analyses and things like that. You just want to do something different, and fine, you've registered professionally. It's okay, but again, yeah, professional affiliation matters on your CV, but there are other things that are more important. So you can get a master scholarship. I'll say yes to that. And yeah, with PGD, sometimes like I don't know if you had an HND and you did a PGD. For us in the Nigerian system, yeah, PGD counts a lot, like a buffer. But in most countries that I know, like in the US and Canada, sometimes they don't even understand why you did PGD, right? They still falls back to your, let's say you had a pass or you had a third class and you did PGD in Nigeria to buffer and cancel that out. Most countries still feels like no, they still evaluate you based on your first degree. So now the question is, why did you do PGD? It's not because you had an HND or something, which HND is not a barrier on its own.
Thank you so much. As I see some people asking, what's the meaning of? There are some things that You're supposed to ask Google, not him. You're asking what is the meaning of GRE. You shouldn't be asking here, okay? All right, so that is very important. Go to Google, type GRE, the meaning of GRE, and you'll see that. This one said, Mr. Shola, my answer my I'm a voluntary retired soldier from Nigerian Army. Is this possible with Tutu to offer scholarship? I mean, to get scholarship to study security management, criminology abroad? Now we are given the question so that you can answer it.
Yeah, like I
I
said,
don't want soldier to come and beat me at home.
yeah, we have to respect them. Yeah, like I said, tutu is not a barrier. Okay, the problem with tutu, for instance, if you're looking at Canada, like I usually like the normal phrase "Canada in Jesus' name." You may not get into Canada with tutu because a lot of universities, if not all universities in Canada, have a benchmark of 2-1. So, but there are several scholarships in Asia. For instance, I posted, I think in February, like Koika, there's this scholarship in Asia. KDI offers a lot of scholarships on public policy. It doesn't have to be security management. If you're talking about security management and criminology, then maybe you need to talk about AI. You need to talk about, like how do you track? It's not just about reading. Like you need to understand, the importance of technology in security management. So that's what I keep saying. Like, what do you really want to do? If it is just about leaving the country, then
Mhm.
you might miss the point.
Mm.
So if it is, I usually tell people if it is 70% JAPA, 30% research, you will not JAPA. You will still be in the system. But if it is 70% research, like, okay, yeah, I identify a global problem, I identify insecurity, I'm going to use AI to, understand how we can track people, to understand how, okay, for instance, in Nigeria, we don't have database, right? Like, people just, I mean, NIN, they did it, fine. We understand. But when it comes to database, okay, this is what I want to solve. So, like, with your tutu, it's not a barrier. You may not just be in Canada, you may not just be in the US. Yeah, people also get scholarship with tutu in the US, but it has to come with, like, okay, you've had publications, you've done GRE, you've attended conferences. Maybe at the conference you identify a professor, and the professor will even be the one to tell you, like, don't worry about the tutu. Like, you can make a statement for you, like, I'm okay to supervise this person. I believe in this person. And there are several talks out there on Twitter from people in academia saying, "Oh, guys, it's not about grade. Yes, it's not about GRE score. Like maybe in the future, I'm putting this video as, like, speaking into future. Like maybe in the future, GRE will not be a test of excellence. Maybe grade will not be a test of excellence, because in the long run, you see people with low grades that even perform better, especially when they are in an environment that helps them to be a better person. Yeah.
Absolutely agree. This should be the last question. Ayomiko Alabi says, as a pastoral, can I can I be qualified for the PhD scholarship? Is it a pastor you are talking about? Let us understand. Ayomiko Alabi, Pastor Ayomiko Alabi, as a pastoral.
I've had several questions. I've had several questions like this on Twitter and on Facebook. I feel like, okay, I don't know. Like there are several scholarships out there, but I've not really invested in pastoral scholarships. Actually, but I know of recently there's this there's this. I'm sorry if this looks like a joke, but I mean, people complain Muyiwa posts so much about STEM. Now, non-STEM are coming. Like this is coming to being a pastor, like pastoral scholarship. So recently the Croatian government posted, like, there was this application for scholarship, like Croatia, like as a Christian you can apply. So maybe you can look at something like that. But again, about 5,000 people applied for that scholarship, and by the time they released the list, they said over 5,000 persecuted Christians applied for the scholarship. So like I feel like an average person in Nigeria is persecuted. So like for you to get out there, it takes a lot. And I want to tell you, scholarship is not cheap. Scholarship could look like free, but the fact is, it takes a lot of hard work, and it's like it doesn't come easy. You have to do your part. So if you're looking for pastoral scholarship, I don't know if there are churches in Nigeria that sponsor people to study abroad, and maybe Shola also knows about pastoral scholarships in
I've not invested pastoral too.
okay, so maybe in Israel, maybe in Italy, I don't know, but coming to this part of the world, yeah, people, I know professors in religion and, like all those things like that. Maybe you can think about African history, like African tradition. These are areas you can look at. I know universities in Germany that deals with African tradition and all these things and history and different perspective. But if you're just looking for a scholarship in Christianity or religious study, that might be hard to get. Except you just look for areas which people don't go to, like maybe look at a particular country that it is only you that got the information. I haven't really come across such opportunities, but it doesn't mean they don't exist.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay, guys, that's an Airtel recharge card on the screen. You can quickly load that if you are lucky. Fastest, the fastest. Of course, that's only available to Nigerians. Okay, not people in the US. All right, and that is the YouTube channel. I hope I'm correct with the spelling.
Scholarship it's Cafe. Correct. Scholarship Cafe with Dr. Igbala Jobi. But if you type Scholarship Cafe, you should be able to say it. Yeah. Scholarship Cafe with Dr. Igbala Jobi.
Okay, let me quickly do that.
Yeah, I think I'm also right.
Is it Dr. DR or
DR? Yeah, I find it funny when people use DOCTOR for me.
All right, guys. So we're going to share that anyway. We're going to share all the links. If you are in the email or the our Telegram community, you're going to get that. If you are not there, simply go to ekitidigitalsummit.com/register. That's what is scrolling on your screen right now. And then you can just simply register so that you can get all of these things, right? And like we said earlier, if you want to get the replays and all of that, just go to ekitidigitalsummit.com/VIP to get all the replays. Dr. Igbala Jobi, I have to say thank you so much for your time with us today. You gave so much, but in fact, let me tell you, you broke the record today because over time, we've had like 55 live views, right? As in people watching live, but then you broke the record over 60.
Okay, that's good to know. Like you guys are doing a great job, and I also want to say thank you to you, like, and your team for placing Ekiti to be on top. We've always been on top, and the fountain of knowledge and land of honor. And I'm proud to be from Ekiti, and wow. And I hope we can have future collaborations and. Also invested in. I'm also to invest in the educational system in our state to put it out there on the global scene, and that's also something important for me. And I will always be available when it comes to things like this, especially when people don't have to pay for it. Yeah. So that's
of course. All right. Thank you so much. Of course, we also plan to have master classes right over time where it's going to be of course free, and then this is also free. If someone is watching live, it is free, but as far as you don't watch us live, then you have to get replay because we are paying a lot of money to get.
I know. You guys are doing a great job too. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, and we look forward to having you some other time.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, bye. See you on the other side. Thank you, sir. All right, guys. So that was the session with Dr. Igbala Jobi. And as you can see, that was super amazing section. And of course, the session is free if you join us live. But if you don't join us live, then you have to, kind of pay for it. And if you want to, get the replay of the session, simply go to ekitidigitalsummit.com/VIP to get all the replays. Let me say thank you once again. But then, before I forget, I would like to mention some of the people who have been supportive in this event, right? Who have really supported. Let me mention their names. Sorry guys, I just have to do this. All right, so we appreciate our board of directors. Let me quickly share the screen so that you guys can see the screen. Okay. Okay, so this is our team, right? And these are the people that have worked, they've worked overnight and day just to make this event successful. This is Abidin, right? Abidin is one of our board of directors. I mean, board of advisory, which is advisors or advisory board. We also have the person who took the last session in person of Ayomide Alao, but his picture is not yet here. And we have Mr. Nelson, and then we have more people coming up on board. Then we have the team leads or the team heads. Of course, you can see my handsome face there, but then that is not about me. Today is not about me. It's about the team. And we have Jessica Olori. She is the head of logistics. And we have, I hope you can see my screen. I hope you can see my screen. Please let me know if you can see my screen. I hope, okay, great. I can see, say you can see my screen. So we have Jessica Olori, head of logistics. We have Ola Moses, head of social media, involved with management of social media and all. And then we have here, Kayode Oyelola, the head of graphic design. All the graphic you are seeing is the one directing everything. Then we have Tope Akintayo, the head of content development. And then we have Oluwadara Okunade, head of web design and development. You can see all of these things on our website later on. And then we also have, let me just share another screen of volunteers. Okay, thank you so much, guys, for still waiting to listen. And like I said, we have a special bonus from Doctor, and we are going to share with you, all right, very, very soon. So these are our honorable volunteers. We have Aboduri Precious O, right? And we have Victor Daniel. We have Kolawole Adedamola. We have Adeleye F. Olamide. We actually have more volunteers, but these are the active ones, okay? And we have Isesele Janet E. We have Stephen O. Adewu, right? And we have Christiana Bamiboye. We have Akinyemi Okoyemi. He served in the graphic design, super amazing guy. We have Olori Rachel. She also served, in the logistics. We have Ogunjobi Michael. We have Olubumi Iyanoluwa. We have Abiodun Ezekiel. And then we have Ayomide Olanipekun. And we have Olatunji Oluwayomi. We have Blessing Abodunrin. She worked on her content, has been doing well. We have Taiwo H. Alabi. So these are all the people that have made this event successful. All right. And then let me also mention some of our partners that supported us. We have the first on the list is the person who even first came up as a media partner is Ekiti Trends. All right. If you are not following Ekiti Trend, you can follow them on Twitter, on Instagram. You can follow them on every other social media platform. Ekiti Trend. All right. Then we have Ojo Henry. Ojo Henry is the person. He gave us he gave us money worth 10,000 naira. To run this program. For example, like I told you guys that this event we spent a lot. Right now, I'm using generator. There's no light, and so all our volunteers, use data on their own. Okay, and they have been really, really supportive. Right, so that is Henry Ojo, and then we have Tosin Adara from Glimpse Nigeria, who came up as a partner, and they also helped. And of course, we have Ekiti State Government as a partner because they shared this event in their newsletter. So they shared this event in their newsletter, and so many of government workers came on board here to speak, to show to the people that these are the things that they are doing. We have Office of the SDGs Ekiti, Dr. Sholanke. Then we have Akeju Damilola from Exusu Press. Exusu Press, they impressed us, right? Even though we came at the late hour, Exusu Press help to share this on their platform, and we really appreciate Exu Press for that. And then we have Faith Adeoye, from Tribune newspaper. Very soon you'll be seeing some of these things on newspaper, some of the recommendations. We have Mr. Popola from Daily Independent, and we have Janet Alalade, right? We have Janet Alalade from Desi Cakes. So guys, if you need cake and you are in Ekiti State, if you want to learn how to bake cake, Desi Cake in Adamalekun Estate, just around the same estate with Takeaway, right, is the plug for you to learn. And then we have Yakubu Jimo John. He actually supported about 4 4 team members with internet data, and he's into selling of Ogi. You can check him up on Facebook. Just search for Yakubu Jimo John. All right. So these are the people that supported us, and of course, you know that this event is hosted by Go Global Solutions, which I am the CEO of that company. And by the grace of God, like I said, guys, if you are interested in getting all the replays of this program, all of the replays, not just this one, right? All of the replays for just 5,000 naira. Go to the VIP link, and it will share with you later on ekitidigitalsummit.com/VIP. And if you want to sponsor more people to get access to all of these replays, do well to reach us at info@ekitidigitalsummit.com. All right. Thank you once again. And if you want to learn web design, if you want to learn web design, digital marketing, normally our class is 150,000 naira. But this is the biggest opportunity I want to share with you. We at Go Global Solution, we are given, what we call accelerated skill acquisition. So we're going to send the details later, and we have slot for just 20 people, right? Because we cannot take more than 20 people. We have slot for just 20 people. In fact, I think we can slash it to 2 so that our volunteers can be part of that slot. But then we have slot for 20 people, and we have 90% discount. Hey, 90 what? Percent discounts. You get access to tools worth over $1,000. That is if you are in Ekiti. But if you are not in Ekiti and you still want to participate, if we have more than maybe 5 people who are interested and who are paying, then we are going to organize online session for you. But really, we are going to get that number. Okay, so just we are going to send the details so that you want to make payment, you make payment. 90% discount, all right, on our course on web design and digital marketing. You are going to learn how to learn how to create website, how to run Google ads, how to run Facebook and Instagram ads. You're going to learn how to create digital product, how to do a lot of things, guys. It's going to be massive, and it is just for 90% discounts. That is like 100. It's like 15,000 naira, right? And this offer is only for this month. So if you don't grab the offer before the end of this month, the offer is gone. So you have to that means you have to pay 150,000 naira to join the class here. All right. Someone is asking, is Ojo Henry the pharmacist? No, Ojo Henry is not a pharmacist. He's a digital marketer. All right. He was our student too. But today is a big boy. All right. He was our student on the first set of our students, and today is a big boy. All right. And we're going to give you amazing support if you're part of Go Global students. Like you learned, one of our friends who got fully in the we wrote his recommendation letter to get that scholarship. All right. So that is it, guys. Then Dr. Igala Jobi is given 10 people, right, the opportunity to review their CV for free. But of course, you know that we're going to give it most of those people to our volunteers and to some active people people who will join, of course, people will join the VIP. All right. So, and then the CV review is not for everybody. It's for people who are majorly into STEM, right? Science, engineering, STEM, technology, and mathematics. You understand? So it means that you are into science and all of that. We are going to give you opportunity to do that. So just reach out to us if you're one of them at info@ekitidigitalsummit.com. gmail.com. All right. And if you want to learn how to, we are going to share, all of this, most of these things in the Telegram community. So if you are not in the Telegram community, just go to ekitidigitalsummit.com/register. After you have registered, then you'll be redirected to the Telegram community to join us. All right. So thank you guys for the opportunity to impart into your lives. It has really been 3 days of hard work for myself and for my team, right? They've done amazingly well. Please help me appreciate them. Help me to appreciate them in the comment section, all right? Help me to appreciate them in the comment section. We are rounding up. Help me to appreciate my team, right? The best team in the world for organizing this wonderful summit, right? Help us to appreciate them in the comment section. Just drop thank you. Help me to drop thank you to all of the team members in the comment section. All right. Help me to drop thank you. Don't worry, they've not taken light. All right. Help me to drop thank you to all the team members in the comment section. All right. Drop thank you. Thank you, everyone, too. I can see Olubumi Olukoka. Thank you. Sorry. Thank you so much. Bimbo Rosemary, very active. Thank you. Say God bless you. Thank you. Olumide Alade says, well done, guys. You are too much. Thank you. Adeleke Odukoya says, well done, Go Global Solutions team. Thank you very much. Olutola says, thank you, Shola. Thank you too for watching. Sincerely, we want to appreciate all the participants of this people who have been able to attend, especially people who attended all the sessions. Right? There is a name that has always been very, very regular in all the sessions, and I think Bimbo Rosemary is part of them. But there's one name in particular I really wish to remember right now. She has been very, 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 very active in all the sessions. Okay. Oh, wow. I really wish I could remember that name right now. I want to mention that name. Wow. Okay. Anyways, I'll still get the name. I usually remember things like that, so I'll get the name. I will get the name. Let me quickly get the name. I really want to mention that name. The person has been very, very consistent. I remember that name not quite long, but let me get the name. We even gave that person, a free access to the VIP session, right? We gave the person a free access to the VIP section. Yeah. Yeah. Good. I remember the name. Adejoke Fausat. Oweye. Ade. Yeah, in fact, she even sent me a message that she commends me and my team. Ade Joke Fausat. Thank you so much, Ade Joke Fausat for the amazing, for always joining all the sessions. You are more like our best, participant in this session. Ade Joke Fausat, Oweye. Thank you so much, Oweye, Ade Joke Fausat. Thank you so much, and God bless you guys. We'll see you on the other side. We just want to say thank you. I'm super excited, super happy that this eventually came into being. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let me put some of your comments in the screen. Faith says thank you. Rosemary says thank you. Well done, guys. Thank you. I appreciate. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Ikion, thank you. Ade, thank you. All right, Samuel Lawrence says a big bossa to all the team members that made this program a success. Thank you. Yeah, in fact, me too. Thank you. No man knows what good thing can come out of easy. I'm so much grateful to you all. Right? Yeah. People say that. In fact, I have to screenshot this right now. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. People think that nothing can actually come out of Ekiti State, but here we are, dominating the space and making sure that Ekiti is put on the map. So I want to say thank you so much, Fatuna, right? Bravo, Go Global Team Solutions. Thank you so much. It's a nice and great team. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All the team, they've been sacrificing, right? So they have, thank you so much. And all of our team members, right, are going to get certificate of volunteerism for all of our team members. Thank you so much. It is really blessed. Thank you, thank you. Akingbade says, wonderful group. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. The team has been, see, I cannot stop thanking the team, really, because people are seeing me now, they will say like, Shola Mati is great, doing job, but really, I wouldn't have been here without my team members. So once again, great kudos to the team. We've done amazing job today. Yeah, we are blessed with intellectuals, right? Thank you and God bless you. Ayomiko Alabi says thank you. Olaju Butu Sunday said kudos to the amazing. Thank you so much. There's someone I need to really appreciate, and that is my beautiful damsel, my fiancée, my wife, my everything, right? You know, for example, now as we are busy, let me show you guys. As we're busy here today, she actually brought a very nice meal for me, and then that is the only way I could have survived. So even though I don't want to mention her name right now, but I just want to say thank you to her. God bless you, babe, and I love you so much. All right, I want to do like Olawale Perfect. The first session we had on Friday, Olawale Perfect was just, you know, just falling in love, talking about his wife. And me too, I'm talking about my fiancée. All right, so kudos to the amazing team. Thank you so much. Delega, thank you. Ibukun Williams, thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Rotimi Raphael, thank you. Okay, yeah, people are appreciating Fausat, so say thank you. Guys, if you want to leave, you can leave. I'm just trying to appreciate everyone who has joined. Oni Oluwafemi, just thank you. Samson, thank you too. Olumide Alade, Mr. Shola, be expecting my message in your inbox. Thanks. No problem. I'll be expecting your message. I hope it's that you want to sponsor our next event or our master classes. Right. So this is actually it. We can hold this master classes for free and make it available to everybody for free if we get the support to do that. All right. So, and that is important. So if Olumide wants to send us, that we'll really appreciate. And that is all. But please don't send me message just for message sake. All right. Please, I beg you. But if you send me any message, I'll do well to also respond, you know, via the email. Olushola Falore, thumbs up, guys. Amazing team. Thank you so much. Okay, this guy says, oh, you know, people know people who are performing very well. I think Olushola Falore too has been consistent. I've seen him in a couple of sessions. Anyway, thank you so much, and I really, really appreciate. Guys, thank you. We cannot thank you enough. And this is where we draw the curtain. We started with a prayer, and definitely we are going to end with a prayer. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for the opportunity to organize this event. We thank you for the success of this event, even though there were challenges of network and all of that, but Lord, you made provision. We thank you, Father. And Lord, we pray for everyone that has been part of this session. We pray that you surprise them with your blessing. People who will be applying to study abroad, we pray that you provide for them. You pray that you grant them that admission that they are seeking. Grant them that scholarship in the name of Jesus. We pray that people will know the next thing to do, even from this summit. We pray that this summit will be a huge blessing to them. Thank you, Father, because you've answered our prayer. In Jesus' name, we have prayed. Amen. All right, guys. We are going to send a feedback form in the comment section. If you fill that feedback form, you'll most likely be able to get the slide of Dr. Igbala Jobi. All right, most likely. All right, so we're going to send that feedback form. If you fill the feedback form, you get a free gift from us. So we just want to say thank you and have a lovely time. Bye.